How to guarantee, let me get this right. How to guarantee 100% chance that you're going to get laid in 2025 with Ninja Game. Skill maxing, and how to guarantee 100% chance that you will fail with Samurai Game. Mass approaching, like swing the big game sword. That's right. Yeah, I was a little bit late. I had a sales call. So it was a half Latino guy. Let's just say I told him that I had some bad experiences with half Latinos, but let's continue. This is the first day of the 5-day challenge for August. So it's been a while. Don't mind the hair. I just took a shower. My ears still has water in it. I don't have time to style it. So let's begin the challenge. Shit, I don't have time to fix this. So basically, listen up. You're about to discover why Ninja Game skill maxing destroys Samurai Game, mass approaching game techniques. Every single time, especially in today's brutal dating market. Can you guys hear me? Is the microphone working? So basically, I'm going to break it down, the exact point system that determines whether or not you get laid or you go home empty. But I also want to talk about Ninja Game versus Samurai Game, the overall big strategy of why people are failing. Latinos used to be samurais. They had high SMV. They can swing their big game sword and use techniques and they'll get laid. But now that's not working. They have to skill max like a ninja. So you can get laid or you can go home empty, handed in 2025. I know because I'm the only one getting students laid in 2025. So you're in good company, including the one factor that can actually go negative and sabotage everything that you have built. So if you're tired of getting rejected and not knowing why, this video will finally connect the dots for you. So that way you understand. Because like I'm saying, let me see, is this working? Oh, good. So one person's here, right? What's up? So I want to make sure that other people can see this video too. So I want to promote it somewhere else. Okay, it seems to be working just fine. Day one. All right, that's good. I'll promote on the second channel. But yeah, I want to talk about Ninja Game versus Samurai Game and this technique and all the strategies and why people are failing. Because I can explain it to you, especially a lot of Latinos recently are struggling, even if they were good before. Okay, I just want to post this into the Facebook. If you have any questions, ask. I wish I was more organized. I just had a sales call with a half Latino. So I was very, very distracted. And I told him about the bad experiences I had. You know, I told him about the bad experiences I had with a recent half Latino, half white guy. It's like, I don't want to have deja vu, but I'm just saying. All right. Facebook has it now. Let's continue. So like a lot of Latino students this year, many have succeeded and many of them has completely fucking failed, demolished to a billion pieces. That's right. Like I said, for all the successful people, there are people that have struggled. And you wonder why. It doesn't make any sense. Don't they have high SMV, John? So why did some of them get laid this year, even though this year is very, 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 very hard? I'm probably going to be the only day game coach this year to get laid testimonials. Especially now that the Donald Trump tariffs are happening right now. That's right. His tariffs are happening right now. So instead of just the inflation, you know, of last year, I got 56 laid imposed testimonial last year. Now I've got a tariff. People are losing their minds. going crazy. So, having said that, of course, the last 5 days challenge, we talked about the 20 out of 35 concept, but we never went into much details. But I promise you, every single challenge, we're going to have new material. That means you're not learning the same things as before. This is going to be all brand new. So, yo, join the 5-day challenge. Just telling people, right? Because I didn't really advertise this one. So, because if you look at it, looks is out of 10, money out of 5, status. I'm a little bit distracted. Should I just redo this or something? I feel like I should just fucking redo this video, right? If there's not enough people on here, then maybe I'll just try again. For the person that's already on here, thank you. But there's not a lot of people here. But okay, we'll just have some faith that they're gonna show up, right? They're probably gonna show up anyways. They just need a little bit of time. So I'll continue. So basically, I talked about looks is out of 10, money is out of 5, status, your race is out of 10, social skills is 2.5 points, social calibration is 2.5 points, emotional control is 2.5 points, and game is 2.5 points. Because if you have money problems, you cannot actually focus. It's going to affect your voice. So even though you may have alexithymia, which is emotional blindness, and some people cannot detect it, but other women can. So 5-day challenge, fucking show up. Okay. I'm going to send this to my other students. Because they want to hear this. I have a lot of Latino students, so. All right. And you don't know that you're being rejected. It's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand does. And lastly, game tactics, right? That's the problem because game tactics is like a ninja versus samurai. We're going to talk about that. Let me see. Like maybe the thumbnail is not good. I don't know. Like, is the thumbnail like maybe people were not clicking on it? Maybe I should just remove it. I don't know. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. This is like really last minute. So 4 views. Okay, I think that's not bad. I've seen worse. So we can't change the thumbnail. So we're just going to continue and power on through. So, all right. One person here. Has a student ever worn a muscle suit? Was it effective in that? No, elevator shoes is 10 times more effective than the actual muscle suit. So I don't know why, but muscle suits don't do shit. I'm pretty sure that I've seen you wearing a muscle suit before. So I'm pretty sure I've seen that, right? It doesn't do anything. It's like they don't even give a fuck. So, but good question. Keep asking. So as I was saying, because a lot of Latinos in the past used to mass approach and they get laid easily. But if we look at their looks, right, out of 10, they're usually 7 out of 10. So universally, Latinos are decent looking. They're either tall or they're short, but they have a better face if they're shorter. If they're taller, they're still decent looking, but they're always 7 out of 10. So whether they're short or they have a better face or they're taller, but they always have more muscles and decent looks. But that's the thing, they never go on beyond 7. But that's obviously higher. If they're all at 7 out of 10, they have something going for them. And their ethnicity scale was 7 out of 10 before. That's already 14 points. It doesn't take much to get over 20 out of 35 for a Latino before. It was automatic lay for Daygame for Latinos. But Donald Trump has been reelected. That's right.
And there was like 2 ice raids. Every ice raid that has happened so far has lowered the Latino standing to 5 out of 10 because that's minus 2 points for 2 ice raids.
That's right. So that's what happened. So they're no longer a 7 out of 10. They're like 5 out of 10 for status. And you're like, whoa, really? Well, if they're 5 out of 10, then it becomes harder. So a close follow-up question: have you tried muscle suit on any students in the past besides you? um, no, no, I haven't. So outside events can affect you. On top of the tariff, which is affecting your state of mind, giving you cortisol. There's something we talked about in the past. One of the 5-day challenges, right? We talked about cortisol, how you can root rot. And just like a plant, it'll affect other people around you. For my students, too much cortisol, it starts to rot and you turn into a zombie. But that's not the point of today. We're talking about Latinos and why some of them succeeded. Because why talk about Latinos? You're like, John, we don't care about Latinos. But hey, Latinos are the greatest case study. I was just on a sales call with one. I didn't let him join yet. He might join later, but I was very skeptical. I have a contract now for Latino students. He'll be signing it if he joins later on. Let's just say, like, I can't talk more details about him in the future and where he lives and stuff. And I told him there was another pain in the ass half Latino hater, and then he knew. He's just understood, because he's also half Latino. It's like I wanted to make sure that he wasn't lazy like the other guy, skipping all these days and doing nothing, no drills and stuff. So, like I'm saying, for Latinos, they all have the same issues. Even if you're not Latino, you might find this topic boring. But we'll take a look at the worst students of the year. We'll study them, and you'll learn a lot. Because in the past, Indians were the worst. Before that, Asians was the worst. So it really depends. Now it's Latinos. They're in the crosshairs of worst students of the year, metaphorically speaking. So we have to ask ourselves, what's the difference? Why should we talk about? Okay, so we're going to talk about Samurai Game early on. So basically, Samurai Game is something that Latinos used before when they have a 7 out of 10 perceived natural status. And they have 7 out of 10 looks. That's 14 points. They only needed 6 points to get over that line. So for Latinos, they were samurais. I could grab my samurai sword, right, and start holding on to it, but I don't feel like it right now. I don't want to stall. But imagine a samurai sword, the big katana. That's just a metaphor. Is there too many fucking lights over here? That's just a metaphor. I'm so bright here. I'm looking like fucking Korean or something. Like, let me try to turn off some lights. Shit. All right. Hopefully you guys can see me better. But yeah, face is looking too bright. But Samurai Game means that you're swinging your big game sword, right? And I can grab a katana. I just don't want to. I mean, shit, the microphone's not here. Okay. I could grab a katana. Hopefully you guys could hear me from the entire time. But they're SMVing it. They swing and they swing. They're a sword. So the sword is a representation of game. So they mass approach and they have like a one strike game, push pull, DV stories, sexualizing it, phone number close, validation, self amusement. It's just like game, one step, one step, one step, one step. My Latino students cannot do multiple steps. You know that? It's nearly impossible. Whenever a student have to start doing some breathing exercise, they have to breathe in like 4 seconds, and you have to tap the phone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they have to hold on for like 16 seconds, and then breathe out 8 seconds. They cannot even do the count because they can't do anything in a 3 sequence or 2 sequence. Latinos can only do one step, one step, one step, one step. So they need a samurai sword, and because they used to have like high SMV, that's all they needed. That's the difference. Is that ninjas are different. They're shorter Latino students. They have to, and even if they try to swing the samurai sword during the pandemic, of course they'll still get laid, but then they swing it during the inflation, they will not get laid. They just don't have the shorter students who play ninja game. They don't have like ninja, like a samurai sword to swing because it doesn't work for them. They're not tall, they're too short. Their looks are okay, and their race is fine, but they just don't have enough points. And when you look at Asians and Indians that have like dog shit SMV, like really low SMV, right? Like really like low SMV Asians. There is no samurai game. Unless you're tall, it's not gonna work. Unless you're like over 6 foot tall or 5'11" and above, samurai game will not work. And if it does work, they have to play a huge numbers game, especially this year. Getting a woman, probably not a white girl, but they're just gonna swing very hard for the samurai sword. So they have to start learning ninja game. Ninjas don't have a big samurai sword. They have to be skill maxing. They have to do drills and exercises like a real samurai. A real samurai may learn how to use like 30 or 40 different weapons, and he has to be proficient in all of them. A samurai only has to be good with one weapon. He has big armor, like big muscles and big height, and he has to swing his game sword to cut. And eventually, sometimes they'll cut and they'll get laid with a woman below their looks level. But other times, you want something higher. If you want something higher, then you need to have a ninja game. Ninjas can beat samurais because they have the element of surprise. Ninjas is harder. So for a lot of Latinos, when they're looking at this ninja game, which program is not for high SMV people? So this program is not for high S. No, it's not that. Okay, here's what I'm saying. If you're high SMV, right, and you try to play samurai game with a samurai sword, right, and just using techniques, I'm just saying that no longer works. All the other dating coaches, okay, I just want to make sure it's clear. When you look at all the other day game programs out there, you do your research. Is there anyone that got a student laid this year? No. Tall self-proclaimed high leg count guy only has two late testimonials for Daygame. He's popular. Just two. Does that make sense? Most people have zero. So that means samurai game has been expired. Does that make sense? It's not that it doesn't work for high SMV people. I'm just saying, if my game works for low SMV people and they're getting white girlfriends, they're getting strippers, they're getting laid a lot, then it works even better for a high SMV guy. Does that make sense? Because his looks are higher, his race is higher, and he needs less points to get over the line. If he's drilling the skills and becomes second nature like a ninja, then he gets laid faster. But for Latinos, they're different. Why is Latinos? Because they used to be high SMV, right? Whites, blacks, and Latinos used to be like 10 out of 10 for whites for status. Confident Negroes used to be 8 out of 10, and 7 out of 10 used to be Latinos. But because of the ICE raids that happened twice, so to answer your question for future expat, are you sure you're not Ivan? Because he wanted to be an expat and wants to be a passport bro because he can't cut it in, United States. But for Latinos, for them in general, they really, really cannot do it because they only have one step, their brains. In the past, they were leveraging their high SMV, but because Donald Trump cut down their SMV twice, in 5 out of 10, and if they could only do one step and vibe it, right, and try to use techniques, they can no longer do it. So Latinos no longer gets laid during the inflation. Since 2023, 2024, and 2025, it's nearly impossible for a Latino to get laid that is not my student. If they do get laid, they'll bang like a really ugly 3 out of 10. But other than that, they don't. So they all quit to bar game, night game. They all quit. All the Latinos quit. Only my students are still standing. I had 3 Latinos, complaining. One of them did not complain. He says my stuff works, that he just was too busy. That's not true. He just he shoots down all my ideas. He had high SMV before. All Latinos, as you might seen in a previous video, all of them had multiple girlfriends before, even at the same time. Most Latinos were like that. It was like a big party, the good old days. But when the fucking inflation hit, they became broke as a joke. They had the loser effect. They had a double chin. They had more chins than the Chinese phone book for the Latinos, right? The bad hombres. And they were lazy. You look at how many approaches did they make? 17. How many drills did they do? 12. They only did 12 drills in 14 days and they rage quit. That's Latinos for you. Completely incompetent. They're stuck in the place where their SMV is not high enough, but their skills are not high enough like a ninja. The reason why Latinos suck dick when it comes to Daygame was very simple right now. Because they used to have SMV. They used to be a samurai. Unless that's why their stuff don't work. So whenever I have bad Latino students, the bad hombres, you know, the siesta loving Latinos, always taking a nap. They always procrastinate, never do anything like a couple of days in a row. They always need to have like a 3-day break minimum or disappear for a week. It's like they're affected by the ice and they're affected by the inflation. They're almost all broke. Almost all Latinos have no money, no liquid money in their bank account. And they dare complain. What are they complaining about? Because they were a former samurai. Now they realize that in my training, you have to be a ninja. You need multiple skills to level up. And they don't know what to do. They're like, well, what are you talking about? Why am I doing this drill more than once? Because you got to adapt the habits. I don't get it. The habits. Why do they change the habits? Dude, without the habits in the transformation, you cannot do out there. You're just going to swing your game sword. It's not going to work. I'm into Indian women. Are they challenging for Daygame? No, they're not. So they're not. It is doable. But for you, right, Mr. D, you also did not do your drills recently. So you are thinking like a samurai. You don't like doing the drills. I know you're not Latino, right? But you're acting. Stop acting like a Latino. Stop acting like a Latino. Do your drills, get over your traumas, and get back in the fucking field. Before you come back, I know you're banned for 2 weeks. Just to let you know that. I'm very fair. Whenever a student doesn't do their drills and level up, I mean, your tonality changed. The drills did work. We should install the next one. But Latinos are like that. They just don't like drills. They don't want to be a ninja because they're so comfortable with so high SMV before. They used to be like it used to be like a big party for Latinos. It was so fucking easy for them that they cannot believe it has to be hard. That they have to start doing drills. They're like, oh, I don't want to be a ninja. They'll cry about it, cry babies. And since they have less SMV now, you know, here's the thing. The ones who got laid, you know, they had to do the drills. They got laid. The bigger, taller Latinos are still very lazy. They have a one-track mind. They can only do one step at a time. And if you do enough drills, you can override your bad habits. Since they cannot do 3 steps at once in a sequence, right? They're always getting stuck. A lot of their jobs, occupation revolves around using their hands. They have to touch something. It's almost like the majority of them. If they have to think, right, it becomes very hard. So if they don't use their hands, they only use their brains. They usually fail at it, or they make very little money in most cases. So in my observations of the students, remember, I'm not trying to generalize about Latinos, okay? I'm not saying, oh, all Latinos are a bunch of ADHD sociopaths. I'm not saying that. I cannot talk about the general population, but I could talk about the PUAs, the pickup artists, other races like drills. Oh yeah, they all can handle the drills except the Latinos. Latinos will fight you tooth and nails and cry about the drills and have meltdowns. So good afternoon, zombies. Oh, here we have one of the Latino students who got laid. He has 3 fuck buddies, and you still haven't done your drill for the inner circle, Marco. Come on now. You have to write down all the stuff 6 times, right? You done only like the Elite Tonality Mastery, video 5. You see that? All Latinos are the same. Always taking breaks, always having a siesta. So how are these drills that people resist doing them, right? How are the drills that people... Oh, basically, for example, a drill is a whitewash tonality drill, right? They have to copy somebody over and over and send me an audio. So I can hear it and see how close is it. They're delusional, by the way. They cannot hear the mistakes. So they listen to it like it's their cousin. So I say, what's your cousin's name? Charles. Imagine that's Charles speaking. That's not you. And then all of a sudden they can hear all their mistakes. And then they keep sending me back and forth to drills. So if there was a Chinese student, he'll send me like for 3MP, which I'm promoting right now. He'll send me 20 videos a day over and over for practice, and he'll transform his habits. He doesn't pass everything. He passed only half, right? He needs to be less incompetent. But a Latino doing a drill, he'll do like maybe 2 drills, and then the next day he will not show up. Next day he will not show up. Third day he'll do a drill again, maybe 1 or 2, and then next day he'll disappear for 5 days. And then afterwards they get yelled at and they disappear for another 3 days. That's like 8 days. And then they'll show up one more time. They'll do like 1 drill. They start having a meltdown. They start crying, and then they'll start like making excuses. And then afterwards they have a meltdown. They're gone for like 3 more weeks, and they come back. They get banned, and then they come back. They do the drills for a week, like Marco, or maybe like like a couple of days, and then they stop again. That's a Latino. It hurts them because they're ADHD. They don't like to do anything that's outside their comfort zone. For example, like you, BC, I told you to read or listen to this audiobook about how not to give up by Donald Trump. You didn't do it because it requires focus. If you don't enjoy it, your brain shuts down. That's Latinos. Their brain shuts down. They don't want to do any work. They're lazy. I hate to say it. I don't want to stereotype. I'm not saying that of every single. They work really hard for their job, but they're very lazy when it comes to the second thing, because their Asperger's or their hyper focus is on one thing, their job, or they had to do construction or something like that. And then when they have to do a second thing, their neural pathways are all related to the first thing. And then their ADHD hyper focus, their brain shuts down because they don't think the drills are important. They're lazy. So okay, I did it. Well, I'm glad you finally did it. I hope the book made you not want to quit and give up, because Latinos, when they have a meltdown, they always quit right away. That half Latino guy, because he saw the other Chinese student, 15 lace, 5 models, 5 white girls, 2 actresses, and he married one. He procreated, had a daughter, and then he fucking rage quit. I told the new guy on the sales call, the new half Latino guy, I did not let him join the coaching yet, but I won't get into details. But I told him about the other guy. I was like, dude, I'm gonna like qualify extremely hard to see if you're actually qualified to be here. All right. I have my reservations. I was gonna announce that I banned all Latinos right now. But I still take a sales call. I didn't know he's Latino. He looks Latino. He's half Latino, but I didn't have the heart to tell him I'm gonna ban all Latinos, or I already did. Or they have to sign a commitment contract, and he's willing to sign it. I have a new contract, right? So it's on my phone. All Latinos have to sign a contract to train with me, so that way it's not discrimination. It will be discrimination if you kick out all Latinos. I kick out all Indians from India because all scumbags, sociopath, backstabbers. But some Latinos are acting like that now during this inflation tariff era. They're losing their minds. The economy is not good. So here's the contract. Elite Access Latino Coachability Agreement. Student name, print full name, Coach Johnny. I got this from a lawyer in New York. So we're going through the contract. We're just finalizing it. Why am I hiring a New York lawyer? It cost me like $10,000 American. Because I want to protect my business, because another fucking Latino starts mouthing me off in the forums. He doesn't do any work. He makes like 17 approaches, 12 drills. And he's maybe from New York. Maybe he's from New York. That's where my lawyer is. But this fucking sanctuary city. I don't care. Even if I don't win the case or they toss it out, I want to litigate that motherfucker for the next 10 years. Make him pay $100,000, $150,000. I can afford it. I'm gonna litigate that motherfucker in the ground. Anyways, but this is a new contract. So important note, this contract is not issued based on race or ethnicity. If it addresses recurring behavioral it's all about behavior, it's not about race. It just happens to be Latinos are popping up with the unteachable case. So example, procrastination, drill resistance, extreme emotional volatility, documented over years of coaching experience. Any students regardless of background may receive this agreement if patterns are present. So number 1 clause. Okay. So must complete all assigned drills at least 4 days per week, no more than 2 skip days consecutively. Drill type social calibrations, 45-degree length like body language, tonality, social skills, flow. The lawyer put that wrong. Social skills, flow drill, not flow, and quantity are determined by John Elite. This is my first time reading the contract, by the way, so I've never seen this before. Minimum are reasonable but non-negotiable. Half-hearted efforts are unacceptable. Drills are in the foundation of skill development. Number 2, mindset phases. Complete the mindset playlist within 3 days. Phase number 2, submit a reflective write-up mistakes within 24 hours of completion. No, he has to change it. I gotta tell the lawyer. Phase number 2 should be like a couple weeks afterwards. They have to get started with that. So I have to rewrite the contract. Phase number 3, listen to the coach provided text-to-speech audio as instructed, then confirm completion. Yeah, I'm gonna turn their text and calling themselves out into a whatever. So, question: what can people do to motivate to approach? Right. Well, see, Mr. D, right? You're banned for 2 weeks. It's not because, okay, Mr. D, have I been mean to you in terms of coaching? Because Latinos are saying that I'm nothing but a North Korean, like, authoritarian dictatorship, but you have not been doing your work. Have I ever been mean to you, or have I been encouraging to you? People should know, because Latinos are super hyper fragile. Your motivation is affected by the economy because you don't make enough money. And on top of that, you're hyper fragile like a Latino. You're not Latino. You get triggered because you're more like far left, right? You would have voted for Kamala Harris if you could. Those people are delusional, they're triggered, and they're having meltdowns. You had a meltdown because of somebody else in Vancouver. Something happened. I won't say what, but you had a meltdown again over and over. You haven't been mean to me in all terms of coaching, right? Not even one time. Yeah, exactly. So basically, yeah, that's the truth. Somebody finally said it. So it depends, but it's like you encourage them, but they get thin skinned. You got to stop thinking emotions will affect you. Because if you get triggered, if that makes you steer your car in one direction, get triggered again, you steer it the other direction, and you keep having a meltdown because somebody else got some results and you got really angry, then that's like, does that make sense? The feelings are affecting your actions. If you get triggered, you don't do the drills, Mr. D. So that's affecting your motivation. Is that, what if that despite what you think and what you feel, you do what I say anyways? The best students who gets laid, they don't actually, there's like, John, I don't agree with you. I think this drill is going to help. I'm going to do it anyways because you said so. I'm just going to trust you. That's their mentality. The ones who get laid. I have no idea why I'm doing this drill, but I'm just gonna, just humor me. I'm gonna do it, because they always get laid from it. They're like, might as well. I don't understand. Even after they get laid, I don't understand why it works, but I'm gonna do it anyways. If you just let me handle the science and you become stoic, think about it this way, right? Somebody could insult you and it'll fuck up your day. Then you won't approach for like a couple weeks. Or you won't do any drills. It just doesn't take much. You're too mentally affected by the outside because of lower self-esteem, higher ego. If I were you, I would pretend to be like a Terminator D. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like a Terminator. I'll be back. If you're like a Terminator, do you think Terminators, okay, Mr. D, have any feelings, like butthurt feelings? No. Do you think that they have to think all the time before they execute and go after the target? No. They're programmed and they just do it. That's the fastest way to be easy case. Because you crash out, right? And have mental instability, you keep shutting down. It's like the Terminator that keeps shutting down. So if you're a Terminator, almost like a hitman, right? I hate to say this. I don't condone like people like a hitman and stuff, but if you had the mentality of a hitman and nothing bothers you and you keep going towards your mission, you will succeed. The drills, you don't like it? Fuck it. Just show up, do your 5 drills and get away. Right? Spend that 10 or 20 minutes and just do the drills. Be a Terminator. So, John, do you still Daygame approach? Yeah, I do. So, all right, next one. Consequences. If you refuse to follow instructions, I'll have 3 levels of punishment, like skipping homework or not showing up or refusing to follow my reasonable instructions. Low level insubordination. Pause 1 week access. Medium level insubordination. Pause access 2 weeks. High level insubordination. Pause access 3 weeks. Repeat it or refusal. Removal from the program. No refunds. Alternative support may be offered. These people who does the opposite, makes bad decisions different than what I suggest and tries to teach themselves while having an avoidant personality, not doing drills, running away and stonewalling repeatedly. Averagely, only one person got kicked out a year. Don't be that person. Basically, I got to talk to my lawyer about this. It's not very clear, but it's very hard to get kicked out. I've only kicked out one student per year. It's not like I kick out everybody that's unteachable case. Most of the people either quit or they stay and they take a lot of breaks. But yeah, no refunds or chargebacks, no public defamation or negative post if you refuse to do the work. Any attempted harm of the brand or coach, legal or online, public naming, and possible lawsuit. Unteachable cases gets laid in 1 to 3 days. Coachable follows instructions. Normal cases lay within 3 weeks, asks questions, applies feedback. Hard cases within 6 months, may overthink but drills persist. Impossible cases lay with 9 to 12 months. Emotional reactions managed but committed. Unteachable case. Oh, the fucking unteachable cases, right? Like the half Latino guy. Rare or never lay due to chronic non-compliance, procrastination, refusal to follow drills, or stubborn one-track mind. I should put avoidant personality too, right? In there somehow. I'll talk to my lawyer about it. Repeated failures in section 2 and 3 category unteachable. The unteachable cases, not everyone's unteachable cases. But Mr. D, in case that you are an unteachable case, you're doing the opposite. You're like an impossible case getting emotional, but then you start venturing into unteachable case category. Don't be there. All right, let's continue what I'm saying. So, what are your courses are so expensive? Are you related to that fraudster Julian Blanc? My courses are not expensive. What the fuck are you talking about? Boot camps for other coaches are like $10,000 or something, like 6,000. My course is like $1,000. Maybe you're a cheap fucking Latino. It's not expensive to me because you have poor mindsets, and you're lazy, and you're cheap, and you're stupid. You're paying for my time. I'm the best day game coach in the world. Of course, you might say, I don't agree. Show me one coach in the whole world. Name it. Name one fucking coach to actually have more students laid than me. Not just this year or the last year or the last few years. Name one of them that has more than me. Number two, name a coach that has more than like what I have last year, 56 laid po testimonials. None. I have the most late testimonials in the world. I should be charging like fucking $10,000 per student. I can. I'm charging $1,000 or $5,000 for 3MP, which comes with many courses. So what does 3MP come with? And what are you getting for $5,000? Normally it's like fucking 15,000, but the reason why it's only 5,000 is because the Chinese student, the guy who got laid and he got married, that guy, he got like 15 lays. He told me, because he's a millionaire, to only charge $5,000, and that's just for the 3MP, 3 months of infield analysis. I was like, that's crazy. I'm gonna lose a lot of money. He's like, no, just trust me, right? Because he has money. I was like, okay, fine. But if you look at 3MP, okay, it comes with these courses, okay? I'm gonna list them. I'm looking at the sales letter. So you guys should take a look at 3MP. But this one's more expensive. No, I'm not related to Julian Blanc. I don't like RSD. So I'm an anti-RSD guy. So pin message. This is 3MP. You guys want to take a quick look or start in a second browser. So it comes with Elite Day Game first steps. It comes with Elite Focus for day gamers, Elite 30 from hard case to hero, Elite Playbook, Elite Access for 1 year, Mental Trauma Cure, 3 months of proficiency in field analysis, Kaizen, Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence, Elite 60 High Income Skills, Tech Scheme for minorities, Inner Circle for 1 year. But if you're evil, right, and I don't trust you, you will not be allowed. You'll be given something else like more Skypes, and 20 Skypes. For $5,000, that's great because that's a lot of training. This program is called the Mating Marriage Mastery. So you're looking for one of these 3 things. But just because you're a poor person, you should not get angry at me saying it's expensive. I used to have individual courses for like cheaper. If you want a cheaper option, just pay 1/3 of Elite Bundle Resurrections. $333, you have Elite 30 and also one Skype. So if you want a cheaper course, you can do that. But at the same time, those who pays will pay attention. My courses are very reasonably priced for what you get, and I have the most students laid in the world because I'm the #1 day game coach in the entire world. Of course, everyone say, "Oh no, I'm the best." No, prove it. Show me one person that has more students laid than me. Nobody does. So technically, I'm the #1 expert in the entire world. #1. So who the fuck are you to come over here and say it's too expensive? Then fuck off. Go fuck yourself. No offense, but you don't have to train here. Just go towards somebody else, right? Be a fucking sewer rat. I don't care. I mean, I should have raised the prices. People are saying my prices are too low. No, because I want more late testimonials. It's not because I'm just like getting a bunch of students and I discard the bad students and only like filter good students. No, I teach everyone the same way. If you're a bad student, you get yelled at to keep you on the line or banned. No offense, Mr. D. And if you're a good student, you get encouraged. And some people think, oh, I give the good students more coaching. It's not true. It's not true at all. Because the bad students, I encourage them to go to do more coaching, to show up to do the drills. They always run away. They're physically running away and stonewalling. So therefore, yeah, this is nothing like that. Everyone gets treated the same. You're on the line or off the line. So as I'm saying, okay, remember, I'm not trying to generalize about Latinos, say all Latinos are like that. What I'm saying is that about pickup artist types, but since we're looking at data points, we must look at the data and look at the patterns. So this is completely objective. I'm not going to discriminate on race and discriminate on behavioral patterns. So this is not opinions as facts like they have. This is facts as opinions. So I'm going to give you a blueprint on how you guys can turn it around, okay? Because if it works for the Latinos, the worst students of the year, and they actually follow through and be a ninja instead of being a fucking samurai swinging the game sword, because they no longer have the status, the 7 out of 10, on top of the inflation making it harder. Sure, they got laid through the pandemic, but when they get the inflation, right? Latinos literally have no results for day game outside of my students that are ninjas. If anyone ever gotten laid from a different dating coach, that's a Latino. It's most likely my former student. And it's always before the pandemic. They were not getting laid during the inflation years. So only Latinos get laid here. They should not bite the hand that feeds them because only this place does have Latino lays. And when we're looking at the Latino students, they're like bang, like fucking, they're 5'7". And here's a funny thing. The shorter Latino students are better than the taller ones. The taller ones are like swinging the samurai sword. The shorter guys that have less height. Have you noticed that? When you look at most of my Latino testimonies, they're always short because they have more resilience. So, question: if I had Saturday planned, for example, after my band, for example, should I do the drills in the morning or noon, or time to compensate? You should definitely do the drills sometime during that day. It doesn't matter if you do it earlier. If I were you, I wouldn't even have skipped it. It was a waste because if I ban you for 2 weeks just to make you learn, that 2 weeks could have been like so useful. But you were half-assing it. You barely showing up. You're always making excuses. Oh, I got a date. I got to hang out with friends, right? It's always some excuse. I don't feel so good. Come on now. Stop being emotionally fragile. Just be a Terminator. That's my best advice. You know, it's fuck your feelings. No offense, but I'm just saying, your feelings don't matter. If you have to get something done, you get it done. If you really want to be the most successful, Mr. D, if you want your life to be successful, you set a goal and you do it whether you feel like it or not. I hate working out. Okay. I'm recovering from my injury. I'm a little bit better now. Today's my first day of working out for a long time. So even though, I haven't worked out and I took supplements to decrease estrogen and increase testosterone, I do have muscles. I don't know why. Like I literally do physically have muscles. a little bit of man boobs, but I'm way bigger than before. You know, like I don't know why it's like that. I'm a heavier. I definitely outside that little bit of man boobs, I do have some size on me. I don't know where it comes from. So I hope you get what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'm bigger than before for some unknown reason. But I think that taking testosterone pills to boost testosterone, I have high testosterone, and maybe like it's so high that it's shutting down my system, and it creates estrogen, a little bit of man boobs. So yeah, I'm born with very high testosterone. Maybe that's why I'm so aggressive. But yeah, so okay, I can see some muscle. Yeah, I don't know where. It's not the roids. It's not steroids. Like I have a needle phobia. I cannot. I'm scared of needles. I cry like a girl when I see a needle. So it's not steroids. I have not worked out. I only worked out for like I only worked out for 2 days. The first day I did some sit-ups. I have a total gym over here. So this is my first sit-ups in like 4 months. But it's not steroids. Like, no, I'm not taking steroids. I'm against it. None of my students are allowed to take steroids. So I'm getting a lot of value out of the podcast so far. Oh, that's really good. You mean like this one, right? For the 5-day challenge. So that's good. Keep asking the questions. I'll give you, but why don't you just do what I do, Mr. D? I'm taking something called anti-aromatase. I'm not taking steroids. Usually people that take steroids, they take that so they don't grow man boobs. But I take it because I want like less estrogen. I also take testosterone supplements, those cheap ones that you find from Walmart, those types. And that's what's boosting, like I've been taking it like a lot of them. So I taken over like 25 of them, and that's why it's like way bigger. I don't know how I'm getting bigger and even like thinner. I eat a lot of protein. I have like $100 worth of steak right now from Costco. So yeah, I have abs too for some reason. I don't know where they come from. So I could show you, but it's kind of embarrassing. I have a little bit of love handles on the side, obliques, but yeah, I'm way bigger than before. I can barely fit into my shirt now. So all right, why are you against roids? Mm, I don't want to cheat at all in anything. That means no alcohol in the bedroom, no roids, nothing like that. No crutches, no crutches. So if I have to earn it, then I have to earn it. So let me see if you can see it. It's a way I could show off the abs or something, but I don't feel like I'm buttoning this. All right. So Latinos literally get no results for day game outside my students that are ninjas. So does Mr. D, do you understand why do you have to be a ninja? If you got height, right? You're not a short guy. You might as well embrace this strategy of ninja game. Maybe that's the issue, is that you guys are thinking in the wrong kind of way. You guys are thinking from the paradigm of a samurai, a big, strong, tall samurai. You know, that's the wrong mindset. That's not going to get you laid. That no longer works. This is why that if a student is good and they're embrace ninja game, I can get as many late testimonials as I want. It's just you've been brainwashed by all the other coaches that says, "Oh, you need to have like strategy, and then you need to have like tactics, and then you got to sexualize it." That's what she says. Ha 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 ha. And then you say like, "Hey, you set up dates to the house, you know, and you set up dates to your place, and then that's why." Then you got DHV. Shut the fuck up. Those people don't know what they're talking about. That's why you're stuck, because you're just basically swinging a game sword, but don't try and don't try so hard. It's like, okay, don't swing the sword too hard like Todd V. It's like, okay, everything's a fucking tactic. Oh, DHV here. That's not what my students do. So my students, they get laid and they're shorter. The Latinos that are ninjas will get laid. But now it's harder and harder. Latinos are dropping like flies for day game. And I had a couple of them on forum groups complain. No, only two of them complain. They were so fucking lazy, they barely did the work. They disappear for 5 days in a row or 3 days in a row. They just kept doing that. They barely did any drills, and it's like they're ADHD and lazy. Mr. D, like You have a real diagnosis for ADHD, right? And you're doing the same thing as Latinos. So if you have a diagnosis, they're ADHD too, because they do the same things. They just haven't had a diagnosis yet. So they don't really know. So, anyways, I was saying, yeah, right now I do feel way bigger. My muscles are just bulging. I don't know why. Like in the shoulders too. I don't know where it comes from. Like, what the fuck? How did this happen? Usually had no muscle. It's like growing by itself or something. I did just take testosterone pills, but just to boost it, not like actual steroids, and I just took like the anti-aromatase thing right now. So maybe that's why. I took it right before this. I took like 10 pills in a row. And there's no problems when you take pills. Oh, it doesn't destroy your liver, right? Because the ashwagandha. But for PUAs, right? If they have like autism or like Asperger's, they're pumping a lot of cortisol in their system, right? If they're pumping cortisol, then it's overly done. Like that small little pill, even if high dosage, ain't gonna do shit to a person that's getting a double chinned and they're getting fat from the cortisol or they're losing all their fucking hair. Yeah, don't mind me about the hair today. I just took a shower. I didn't have time to put it up. So it's not like I'm trying to look like Gen Z or some K-pop shit. It's just I don't have the time to actually fix it. So say I'm dating the house with bad strategy. Oh, she's not gonna come to your house. And if she does, it's just gonna be a pull. You still need to use the arrow science. And yeah, most cases they're not gonna come to your house if you're like a low SMV minority. They don't give women are not gonna do that. So you rather them like try to same day lay them to the house instead. So will you be good game if you have cortisol? No, you will not because it'll affect your voice. It will also make you chubby. It makes you less focused. And also, people with cortisol are lazy and they'll have money problems because that's a loser effect. So basically, the winner and loser effect. The more you win, the more testosterone you get. That's why I'm trying to recreate that effect. The more you lose, the more cortisol stress that you get. Does that make sense? So the more you win in life, the more more testosterone. More you lose, the more cortisol. That's why when you say that when people have cortisol, especially with the Donald Trump tariff and the inflation, a little bit of inflation, it was worse last year. It's going to affect people's financial ability, right? And it's also going to shut down their system. They're going to have cortisol pumping in their body. It's going to affect their performance. Women, when they see cortisol, like stress in the face, they hear in the voice, it shows women that they have bad genes. They should not procreate with that person. That's why you see a lot of these black pill guys, right? They're good looking guys, but they just have like too much cortisol. That's too bad. It takes away from their actual like women who run away, even though they look like models, because I'm not sure if I can get this hand through. I kind of broke the shoulders, like working out before. I put this one in first, and this one can actually lift up. I can lift this one a lot more higher than before. Before I cannot even do something like this. Right now it's like here. Before it's like somewhere like, no, I don't want to do that gesture, right? That would be like Elon Musk. So we, yeah, I mean, will you be a good day gamer if you have zero cortisol? Yeah, your results will happen very quickly. If it's zero cortisol, that can be detected. Then your results will skyrocket dramatically, like 10 times. If you have zero cortisol, you'll be like a natural, very relaxed, very chilled. Nothing like your voice is very relaxed. She becomes relaxed. Hope that makes sense. So, anyways, some of you know this because I talk about it, but I've been okay. So, I want to promote my course just to let you guys know that is not just the Elite Bundle Resurrections for $1,000, which is cheap. I also have a deluxe bundle, the Elite Bundle Resurrections. That's right, the Elite Bundle Resurrections, and also the 3MP bundle. So, if you're tired of drifting through another summer, here's your chance to get your spot in the 5-day challenge. So let's talk about 3MP. If you're ready to go all in, not just to get laid, but master every area of your dating life. Check out the 3MP bundle, my most advanced program for men who want it all. And there's a lot of courses for it. Long story short, Elite Daygame First Steps, Elite Focus for Day Gamers, Elite 30 from Hard Case to Hero, Elite Playbook, Elite Access for 1 year, Mental Trauma Cure, 3 months to Proficiency in Field Analysis, Kaizen, Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence, Elite 60 High Income Skills, Text Game for Minority, Inner Circle for 1 year, 20 Skypes, all that for $5,000. And you're like, well, $5,000 is not for everyone, but there are more people joining like the 3MP bundle recently than Elite Bundle Resurrections. Maybe the tariff. There's 3 types of students. Number 1, level 1, they can barely afford more than $400 and less. Level 2, they'll spend exactly $1,000. They won't spend a fucking penny more. Level 3, look, other people's boot camps, right? Like ABCs and people, right? They're like $10,000. This thing is like half the price. It's very fair, but it's not for everyone. Some people cannot afford it, and that's okay. There's something for everyone. There's no longer cheap courses. They're all in the bundle now. So unless you pay for like 1/3 or 2/3 of the courses, one Indian guy only paid for the first one, Elite 30, and then the other one comes with Elite Access. That's it. He did not get the Elite Tonality Mastery. Too bad for him. And he's not doing enough drills. I don't want him to be the worst student of the year. So he doesn't want to tie the Latino guy, right, for being the worst student of the year. So what do you have time to teach? When do you have time to teach all these people? Well, I structure my training in such a way that they only get 10 minutes of my time on WhatsApp for the students. I cannot teach them one-on-one in a boot camp. That's just too long. It takes like 10 hours a day. So in like fucking 8 days is like 80 hours. I don't have time for that shit. So usually when I train people, they're all on WhatsApp. So they get 10 minutes of my time. They get to look at some drills, some exercises. I tell them what to do next, mindset playlist, whatever. So that's how able to manage. Otherwise, it's going to be very unmanageable. So it's like looking over a huge army, but 10 minutes a day with my training. The bad students will always be avoided and skip drills. The good students will get laid because they don't. All right, having said that, should I play some Latino testimonials or people don't really care? Because I might as well quickly. We won't play everything. We'll just go right to the most important parts. Just to let you know it exists. We'll go over in a future video. I have like many Latino students late testimonials. I just don't have time to post it though.
And right now I'm dating a 6'2" hot blonde girl, and
Yeah, he fucked her. So this Latino guy, 5'7", bangs a 6'2" blonde. He always wanted a white girl, but 6'2", that's like. Yeah.
Like Latina. So if I get the dark nights, the screens back on.
Let's see it. All right. Here's a picture. I'm not sure if you can see it. Oh, fuck. Yeah, on one side is a tall blonde over there, here. And on the other side is a smoking hot Latina girlfriend. And she's 6'2" for the blonde. And the Latina is really hot. So I made this song. It's like a Latina kind of song.
In YouTube videos, and I saw John on one of his infields. So it really got my attention, and I decided to do a little bit of more research, and it was great. It really blew my mind away. I decided to contact John, and he turned out to be really nice. He turned out to be very chill, very cool. He decided to coach me, and he figured out what was wrong with my game, all the issues that weren't letting me get progress. And if there's no progress, and there's no results, that was my issue. So we had to work on that for a couple of weeks. It was hard because I had to unlearn all the concepts that I had before, and had to rewire my brain again into new mindset, new concepts that are really cool. And that led to getting results during the process. And most important, those limiting beliefs are gone. And right now, I'm really happy guy, more confident.
You don't care. Well, I don't care what you think, right? Fuck your opinion.
And right now, I'm dating a 6'2" hot blonde girl, and I'm And it wasn't TNF. So if
Okay, and this is when he gets his girlfriend.
Ron, for your help, for your advice, I'm so happy. And tell everyone that they shouldn't hesitate in contacting you.
Right here.
Identified all the big problems.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do. I was totally calibrated. I had no idea what I was doing. And that ended up really bad to the point where I was like, so, and she cut me off pretty much. There you go. After that, I decided to contact John. I told him everything, and he identified all the big awful mistakes that I made, and he helped me out. We reviewed them together. We corrected them. I reapproached this girl to the point where right now she's my girlfriend.
Okay, that's all I need to show. I don't have to show everything. At least you know, like 5'7" Latino guy. Of course, he had to crash out afterwards, and he lost his fucking mind. How dare you talk to me? That was a fucking other Latino fuck behavior. So, having said that, so some of you know that I talk about it, but I've been taking Israeli Krav Maga for 5 years. Do you guys know about it? This martial arts is for the IDF, Israeli Defense Force. So you can really see that it's been very effective, and they fight very hard. They have been very successful, so they know a thing or two about survival. You need to have that mindset. This is where a lot of my drills and exercises come from. Because what you don't realize is that this is not some type of authoritarian dictatorship, like some kind of North Korean dictatorship. No, this is a survival system. So you must have the mindset of the Jewish people, even if they're very unpopular right now. So what is Krav Maga, and how does it work? When I was trained in this system, I kept doing a lot of drills, right? So every 15 minutes, we will learn a different drill. So I started working on blocks and hits at the same time, 15 minutes. And that was a drill. I'll do that over and over. It wasn't like, okay, let's learn a bunch of different stuff right away. No, we had to keep drilling one thing at a time for 15 minutes in a row. So that's why, right, Mr. D, for example, why you're doing so many drills and stuff, is because that's how I was trained in Krav Maga. If I had to do one thing for 15 minutes at a time, that's the only way I could learn it. And that's how an army can learn it faster. It may not make any sense, but next time I would start, like, the next drill, I'll learn how to get out of a headlock, right? From the back. We do this for 15 minutes. And we drill it, like, over and over. Afterwards, we'll learn how to kick, right? We'll kick from the very bottom. That's a groin kick. Then we have to go diagonal, and then we have to keep going up and higher, right? Krav Maga does not have high kicks, or not very high kicks very often. Then we have to go back down, and then we have to use our second leg. It's like a, it's like a circle. It's a lot of work. You have to be flexible to do it. It's not fun. Give it a thumbs up. That John is using IDF Army stuff, and that's why I get all these late testimonials. Give it a thumbs up for learning about stuff like this, new stuff. Afterwards, right, we have to kick a kick shield, right, from all angles, right? And then afterwards, we have to start like pad work, right? But before we get started, we also have to, like, for 20 minutes, we have to do like a lot of body, like, like using your body for kinesthetic kind of stuff. So I had to do, like, in 20 minutes, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and not just normal sit-ups. We're talking about Israeli sit-ups. Nothing is worse than fucking Israeli sit-ups. They'll grab your leg like this, right, on the ground, and you have to, lying down, you have to get all the way back up. The other person's holding your legs, and hopefully they don't drop you. Then you have to get up, and you have to punch the pads 1, 2. Then you got to drop your fucking body without getting concussion down on the ground. And then you got to get up again all the way. 1, 2. It's like, fuck that, man. I hate fucking Israeli push-ups. Like, nothing's more, like, not fun than Israeli push-ups. Like, or Israeli sit-ups. Like, who invented that shit? And then you have to do like 100 lunges, 100 squats, and also like burpees. I hate the fucking burpees the most. So what's a burpee? You have to jump up as high as you can, put your hands in the air. Then as soon as you fall down, you have to land on your hand and push out your legs, and it looks like you're doing push-up, but you're fucking the ground. So you gotta drop your hips down. That's called a sprawl. So in case somebody tries to tackle you from MMA, right? We have to just do this. We have to do a burpee. So we're gonna have to, like, as soon as they grab your legs, we have to push it backwards, and our hips are gonna fall right on top of them. So that way they cannot grab your legs. Does that make sense? So that's a sprawl. But that's how you deal with a lot of those MMA guys. So every time they tackle, sprawl, tackle, sprawl, tackle, sprawl. 100 of those. That's like we have 20-minute timer. Plus, we have to start lifting other people off our backs, like we're like we're in the army and stuff. Like, why do we have to do that? So this martial art wants to tire you out so much that you can't even operate. You can only do simple movements. You cannot do fancy stuff, right? Because that all breaks down in the street fight. So I wish you would stop pushing our leg. Do you want to like get the fuck away from my YouTube before I fucking ban you off of it, asshole? Why do I have to deal with this right now? All right, let's continue. So it was very brutal. And worst of all, we have to do is really like push-ups, yeah, all that other stuff, sit-ups. It's a lot of work. I didn't like it at all. Then afterwards, right, we have to yeah, afterwards we have to start learning like sparring or fighting on the ground. So the class is either 20 minutes of sparring. It doesn't matter how big you are. You can be like my height. I was 139 pounds, right? I hit very hard. And then I'm fighting against a guy who's like fucking 6'3" or something, right? And then the punches rains down on you. It does when a taller guy is really like, it's hard to block. But you fight and you can kick them in the groin because we have groin cups. We can even punch them in the throat and gouge them in the eyes because we're wearing boxing gloves, right? We can try to punch them in the throat. We won't kill them. They don't care. It's just like Fight Club. Just 20 minutes. Just try. You have 5-minute rounds. Beat the shit out of each other as hard as you can. That's what I've done. I've been in so many fights for sparring. I don't lose them, but I don't win every one. I win only half of them. And the other half, bigger guys, sometimes it's just like even. You know, nobody wins. Nobody loses. It wasn't easy, but I've done that. Other times you learn ground fighting instead, like jiu-jitsu, but the Krav Maga version, where you can eye gouge and punch them in the groin or knee them in the groin on the ground. Then you have to worry about weapon disarming afterwards. So how is weapon disarming like? So when you see in a video of me, you see. Oh, sure. When you watch a video of me doing all these automatic weapon disarming, it's not like we did everything in one day. It's impossible to remember. Most weapon disarming is redirecting the line of fire of the gun, controlling the weapon, striking the attacker, and disarming. Knife defense is different. It's block and hit at the same time, control the weapon, attack the attacker, and disarm. So that's the thing. We can't do all 4 steps at once. So on the first week, right, after every sparring class, we take off our equipment, time to learn weapon disarming. We only work on the first part of the drill for like around 15 or 20 minutes. We just keep drilling over and over. So we'll work on the first part. When the gun's pointing at you, you have to go down here because that way they can't see you. And then eventually you have to make a fist. So even if the gun tries to shoot, it can't because you get out of the way too. So if you go from under, even if they're pointing at you, they can't see you going from under here until the very last second. Then you get your body out of the way and then you make a fist and it will turn this way. So even if it shoots, the bullet will fly in the air that way. You know, it's not going to hurt you, right? Even if you have a bullet and the slide racks, it's not going to, it might clip your hand a little bit, but it's not going to, it's going to jam the gun. And from there, that's all we did the whole week. We just worried this, right? And the arm up. But we had to put the arm up here so we don't get shot in case that arm is here. It will blast off the hand. So that's how we learn. Boom, right? On that side. Well, we have to get this one ready for loaded up to be like punching them. We push it downwards, right? The gun. Number 2, the second week. Every week, we just do 1, 2, right? 1, hands up. 2, push down. And we got to lean forward a little bit. We got to make sure it doesn't shoot us in the hips. We got to point it at their hips. So 1, 2, 2. Number 3, right? Punch the attacker right in the face, hard as you can. Boom, right? Number 4, you have to put your hands like this, elbows down. You see how everything is memorized? Because I don't remember it. It's all instincts. I could do it automatically. And then you put down here. So you got to go here, out. So that way the gun does not shoot you, right? Because the gun is down here, right? If you go like this, like along, like behind the gun, they're going to blast your hand off. And then you go underneath the gun, you grab it in the back, and you twist it forward, and you pull out with their finger. So 1, 2, 3, disarm. 4, rock the slide, pull it backwards because the gun could jam. So you want to make sure you push the bullet, and then you rack the slide to clear the malfunction. And then you walk backwards and you tell them get on the ground. And then, then you call the cops. So we learn all this different stuff. So every week, right? So week number 3 is going to be 1, 2, and then 3, and we stop there. We do that for 15 minutes. And the last week, we finally add the weapon disarming. So if everything is drilled down, then it could be repeated in real life. There's one police officer that was in our class, and he got shot because after he disarmed the gun, he kept giving it back to his partner. It became muscle memory. So that guy, in a stupid way, gave the gun back to the robber, and the robber shot him. So that's why you have to put the gun on the ground sometimes before the other guy takes the gun back. So everything is drills. And it is a Jewish mindset about survival. That's why it's so effective. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If that's weapon disarming, okay, you don't want to skip too many days, right? Because if you barely show up like twice a week in Krav Maga, you're not going to make much progress. But if you show up at least like once every 2 days or something like that, you don't have like a 3-day break, you're going to make more progress because the mind is used to learning for neural pathways. Normally it's 21 days in a row, right? For before the IDF gets deployed, they usually have like 3 weeks with hand-to-hand training, how to disarm weapons and stuff like that, how to use a rifle. So how would they use the rifle? Okay, they'll hold it up here, they'll stab with the weapon, they'll hit with the butt of the gun, they'll cut downwards, butt of the gun, cut downwards, and then stab you in the face. Walk backwards, and then shoot. That's how the IDF will train you. So that's just a drill. That's their Krav Maga. They use more weapons, right? Does that make sense? So this is a very heavy drill-based system, neural pathways. But how did Israel do against all the other Middle Eastern countries? They kicked the living fucking shit out of all the other people. So it's a very effective way of training. Drills equals results. So because your neural pathways, right? It normally takes 21 days to develop a habit. Some people say 60, right? But around 21 days. So if you have more than 3-day gap, it's like a break in the chain. You go back to day 1. Even if you did Elite 30, right? 30-day challenge. But if you skip, like you did day 1, 2, and then you skip day 3, 4, and 5, right? Day number 6 is just back to day 1. You go back to day 1. Because your brain does not assimilate. That's why Latinos are procrastinators are not going to get any results because they cannot stop skipping days. You see that, Mr. D? You never want to break a link in a chain. You already skipped 2 days. And you're going to come back on the 3rd, maybe the 4th. That's why I banned you for 2 weeks, because you're not going to get any results. You have to go back to day 1 and start all over. Never skip more than 3 days for drills. But of course, the samurai, when they're swinging their big game sword, there is no drills. There is no practice. It's just basically walking in the field without any sort of training, like a fucking Russian or a Ukrainian, and just fucking attrition, mass approaching. That may work for Latinos in the past for a samurai game, swinging a big game sword, but it's not going to work unless you're a ninja. You need to have ninja skills and be like the IDF. You cannot just be like a samurai where you swing the game sword. It doesn't work anymore. That's why Latinos are stuck and they're angry at me. Like several of them are like trying to complain about what? Because you used to be a samurai and you think it's easy? Drills equals skills. That's where all the results come from. So don't skip more than 3 days. And that's the thing. It's like it occupies their RAM in their brain. It's like a computer. Latinos don't have a lot of RAM. Most of the RAM is being occupied at work because they don't have time management. They could barely do a second thing outside their job. They work very hard. When people say Latinos are lazy, they're not lazy. They're the hardest workers for their job because they're so inefficient. But when they have to do a second thing with their ADHD hyper focus, they don't enjoy doing the second thing. They think it's like, oh, why am I doing more than one drill? I don't get it. Oh, for fuck's sake, be a fucking ninja. You want to get laid? Look at the short Latinos. These guys are short. They're like fucking 5'5" or 5'7", right? Latinos are always 5'7". It's like a universal height for the short, for the short amigos. Always 5'7", right? Or below. It's always Latinos. Like, why are you all 5'7", like my height? What the fuck? Why all 5'7"? Or they're 5'11" or something like that. They're like taller. Like they're either 5'11" or 5'7" or fucking below. Like if they're from Peru or some shit, right? They might be like 5'7" or 5'5" or 5'4". But it's always 5'7" and 5'11". Every Latino, 5'7" or 5'11". I'm 5'11". Well, you're not gonna do very well because you used to get results before playing samurai game, and now you gotta learn a ninja game, right? You know what hits the ego harder than fucking ninja game? Because Latinos, right? If they're short, of course they're gonna work really hard. They're lazy and they don't focus, but eventually they have enough resilience because they don't have anything else going for them. They're short. They might have some former SMV, not anymore. They're not like 7 out of 10, they're 5 out of 10 because the ice rates. Of course they're gonna work hard because they're short. They have no excuses. But then you got the tall Latinos, right? They're like, oh, I used to get results because mass approaching and swinging the big game sword. Yeah, and guess what happens? When they cannot swing the game sword, they get confused. Oh, what am I doing drill? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Have you noticed that all the complainers are tall Latinos that are good looking? The short guys don't complain because they get laid. That's a pattern. The tall Latinos, because it hurts their ego because it was so easy before. They used to get like more than one girlfriends. They always had like 2 or 3, averagely. And the other Latinos don't care. If that's the case, and that is that easy for them, now it's super hard. I mean, what hits you harder? If you're a short guy, right? Of course, you admit it. You'd be like, okay, I gotta work hard. But you're a tall guy, you're like, and a tall guy cannot keep up with a short guy because he's a samurai, not a ninja. He's gonna rage quit. He's not gonna last more than a week. Most of these unteachable cases are only gonna last a very short amount of time before they quit. They won't even last a month. That's the truth. Because they have too much SMV and too much fucking pride. And that's the thing. So then they're lazy. The worst is the hyper focus guys, the high value unteachable cases. They only hyper focus on things they enjoy. That's why taller Latino students are samurais. And they used to brag, oh, I got results from Tinder and Night Game before. It's like, who gives a shit? Tinder is like 12 out of 35. Night Game is 15 out of 35, not 20 out of 35. You can't really talk in a loud nightclub for social skills, for emotional control. You can't really do it. So you got results before, good for you. But they can no longer do it. So they don't enjoy these kind of drills. They're like, oh, ninja game. And they dare call it a North Korean dictatorship? That's not true. This is a survival system. This is the IDF. I've taken Jewish technology and I turned it into a system that people can use for Daygame. It's actually a survival system designed for Asians. It wasn't really designed for other ethnicities at all. You know that? When I first started teaching in 2012 in real life, yo, what's up? When I started teaching in real life in 2012, right? I never made this system for other ethnicities. I was only focused to help my people survive. But then people kept seeing all the results of the Asians, right? And they're like, oh, fuck, we want some, whatever the fuck they're having, right? Ninja game. We want some of that, right? Give us some fucking ninja game too, John. Not just them. So they start joining all the other ethnicities because they have higher SMV than 1 out of 10, right? For perceived natural status. They're like, oh, John, we want to be part of it too, like they all want to be fucking part of it. And then that's where all the testimonials came from. And during the years that were like pandemic and before, I used to get 150 fucking lay testimonials or 100 a fucking year for Daygame. It was so easy. But the fucking inflation hit and became harder and harder. But I still get students laid. So yeah, I mean, the curve of the survival value being impacted because of cortisol. Other dating coaches, the samurais, they're all samurai boot camps for $10,000 or $6,000 and $10,000. Samurai boot camps, swinging the big game sword. That no longer works. Try show me like lay testimonials consistently with other dating coaches or day game coaches. You can't for this year or last year. You can't. It doesn't exist. So they just make you worship. They just stand next to women in a picture, and then you just trust them because they're white, because white is right. Do you think the economy will recover? Around 2026 is going to be hugely recovered and go upwards because the tariff, right, is going to bring in so much money. In my psychic predictions, and the other Latinos were like, "Oh yeah, John's making psychic predictions." Every single one was right except for the Carney guy. It's like a 96% success rate with the predictions. So what are you guys laughing at? But yeah, I mean, the economy will improve dramatically. It's never going to be like super bad. It's never going to crash. The tariff will bring in so much money. The United States will be rich. Canada is fucked. So how can I approach MILFs and cougars, right? 35 to whatever. Do I go more indirect? No, it's exactly the same thing. You just dress more husband material. That's all. Wear a blazer, right? Wear a nice watch, like a Rolex. And they're going to see you having stability, and that's going to make it easier to close. You only have part of the outfit. You don't have everything, right? You have the pants, like this one, but you don't have everything else. So I can get this for you cheaper, but it's still going to cost you money. You got to get your money in order, right? Because you got to invest in supplements. You got to invest in these things. When you cannot afford supplements and stuff, is not good. So, all right, as I'm saying, it was only designed for the fellow Chinese, right? It wasn't designed for fucking you know, it wasn't designed for the white people or the Latinos or, but they kept using it. Black people, they just fucking show up. When I was teaching, right? I was online in 2016, so I create VancouverDaygame.com, and I was teaching boot camp since 2012, but I was online 2016. But man, when they see the fucking Asians getting laid because of Elite 30, right? Before I could not get Asians laid because I was just teaching game around 2012 to 2015. Game. No Asians got laid. All the other tall guys got laid from different ethnicities. So height was important back then. But then Elite 30 was released. Now there's social skills and social calibrations. Oh man, Asians were flooding in with fucking late testimonials. It was flooded so much, it's like, wait a minute. How come they're getting laid more with Elite 30 than they're getting laid with Elite Playbook, which is my first course, and also the boot camps? Because this truth is, that's 5 points. Social skills, social calibrations, 2.5 points each. 5 points versus 2.5 points game. People don't have a 2.5 point game. They have like a 1 or something, 1.5. Maybe they might use some emotions, emoting it, right? So it's like 2 points of emoting and some points of game, but Elite 30 was just like nonstop late testimonials. So, are those the best pants? Oops, I should not have shown you. And St. John's work was super effective. Oh yeah. Okay, we should not have mentioned that, but every single 5-day challenge, we always give away one secret supplement that me, Johnny Elite, uses. I've taken 3 St. John's wort today before this. And I also took a testosterone pill to boost testosterone and one anti-aromatase. I've taken like also one for what's that called? Saw palmetto for the hair because it's feeling a little bit itchy. Too much testosterone in your hair, you'll start to lose it. And I also took like a vitamin B complex. Yeah, I took that many pills at once. You think I'm getting side effects? I have 0 side effects. I couldn't even find a side effect if I lived to be a billion. I'm taking these things for years. Take like more than 10 pills a day. But St. John's wort is the secret pill, guys. Write it down. For the people that did show up here, St. John's wort, it depends, right? But it does work. You don't need like antidepressants. This thing's even better. You don't need SSRI, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. St. John's wort plays a big difference. I was going to tell you that, Mr. D. I just know you cannot afford it. But if you got to get your money in order so the supplements will help. It's like a ninja potion, right? Ninjas, it's kind of like, The Witcher, that TV show or the video game. I haven't played the game, but I don't play video games. But I heard of it before. But there's a TV show. He always takes potions before he fights the monsters, and then he has extended abilities for a short while. It's exactly the same thing like with ninjas. Ninjas sometimes take like certain rice balls that reduces their thirst. In the field, they don't want to pee a lot. They also take something for energy with a lot of sugar stuff in it. Rice balls with sugar. So they have different foods. That's their supplements to have different performances. So what's the hair tonic again? I can't talk about it. So, but basically, St. John's wort is a very good one for depression. One of my student, 21-year-old Latino, he's extremely fucking depressed. You know how Latinos, they have this frown? Marco has a frown, right? Marco's a, because they have alexithymia. Latinos cannot feel emotions, so they don't know what's on the outside. But my 21-year-old student who just got laid, Latino, he finally had that massive frown. So he didn't have it before. So basically, as I'm saying, it was built for my fellow Asians, and you got to find a way to install these skills. So let me promote again. So Elite Bundle Resurrections is perfect if you want the essentials. But if you're not that kind of guy, you want every single tool, every single ninja tool, every single secret weapon, and the highest level of coaching. The 3MP bundle is where you need to be. 3MP. Elite access, okay, fine. I only let people have 10 minutes of my coaching a day plus Skypes. But man, if you really, really want to level up and not bench hold, take 3MP. It's more popular now. I have like several students that just joined 3MP. So, all right. Did I cut my nose hairs? I don't think so. Oh, well, I didn't have time. Maybe I'll secretly sneak to the bathroom and cut it. I really just washed my hair at the last moment. I didn't have time to put my hair up. So it wasn't like I want to look like Gen Z or anything like that. It's just, all right, let's continue. So let's see another testimonial. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it or there's something wrong with it. I'll play on my other browser. How's that? Because the voice gets cut off from the phone. If I try to play it, if I use a deeper voice for the testimonials, it gets cut off. I'll see if I can play it here. I have a speaker here. Let's just see if it works. So here's a testimonial. 5'5" student bangs a white girl twice. Lots of mental illness.
Daily bundle is the intensity product price. It is payment. I also bought the access. So you don't have the whole
Can you guys hear it or does it distort? Can you guys hear it? I'm not sure. Because I know that on the phone, right, if I played the same video, it's going to get cut off. I don't know why. Everything sounds like a garbled mess. But whenever I play it on the other one, it works. Let me see if I can hear that one. Why is there no sound? What the fuck? Yeah, I took that many pills at once. You think I'm? Let's see if I can like. You gotta get your. If it plays. John's wort is a very. I really just so. See it. Testimonial 5'5" student. Let's see if it works.
Right.
You can kind of hear it a little bit, so I'll just leave it here, not too close to the actual microphone. It starts to distort, but at least we can hear a little bit of something. So sounds like a muscle mobster. How about this? If you can hear, I can hear a little bit. We'll just play it very quickly. How's that?
No muscles. Okay. I only use fashion. I got a night lady. I see a bundle.
I'll play it fast.
Product price. Anything.
I'll go a little further.
So don't tell me about it. As I said, also, I got them. I want to. I'm happy. So jockey. Appreciate the fuse of office. So just help me with for the business. Thank you, John. For the video. Trying to watch this video. Just as a noise. You know, how to show. So that's the thing you learn to do how to supposed to be like a very deep part of the voice. She's already was a figure. How to make art, some legends. She was listening to some music. I was speaking to the side. She was starting to do it. Was starting to all the when it is. I got a using I like the regular on there. I think it's she came to like this. So you guys have really good habits or habits. It's like changing. The passenger I keep on at all times. So don't worry if you see that when you get an agent that we for trouble in something. So how does it go wrong? You try to because all incidents. So thank you so much, John. Hopefully one of the watching this. I don't get this I wanted to say
Okay, so yeah, so that's his other testimonial. I think you can hear a little bit. If you can hear a little bit, that's fine. So, all right, let's continue. 5'5". I mean, ninja. He's not perfect. It's just he kept shooting down all my ideas like Latinos. Okay, I got pee eventually, right? So I'll just go quickly for the next one. I'll go to the bathroom after the next one. Okay, I'll try to hold it in. It's not good for you, but let's talk about the concept of skill maxing and why you have to skill max. It's almost like a video game character. You're the main character. It's like a role-playing game. You guys, if you ever played the video games before, I played it decades ago, but the main character, they have different attributes that can be raised. So this is how you do it with the drills. If you just do game tactics or techniques or strategy, right, and DHV stories or push pulls or self-amusement bullshit or sexualizing it, these are just one-step moves, right? That's like a samurai sword. Drill, or I mean, like game, push pull, right? Fucking self-amusement, challenging, right? All that validation, right? Disqualification. Shut up. So that's why Latinos really like it, because they cannot do multiple steps. So they love to swing their big ass game sword, and that's not skills. That's just looks, money, status plus game. You're basically swinging the sword to see what gets out or which gets cut down. Most people don't, metaphorically speaking, right? So you're getting rejected over and over. Eventually, you'll get like a 4 out of 10 looking woman, and you'll feel happy about it. That's what Latinos are like before the pandemic era and before. But then it got harder and harder during the inflation and tariff. Nothing cuts down because they don't have any fucking skills. So what are the 4 components of skills, okay? It's the same with Krav Maga. For ninjas, you have to upgrade their skills. So the first is you have to be unconscious incompetence. Okay, what do you mean? You don't know what you don't know. Trust me. When a person's unconscious incompetence, right? When I teach like the Chinese student for 3MP, he doesn't even know he's making these mistakes. So this is called unconscious incompetence, because you don't know what you don't know. Most Latinos with opinions as facts, right? I'm not saying all Latinos and stereotyping everyone the same, right? But I'm just saying the ones who are pickup artists have opinions as facts. They're usually always unconscious incompetence. They really don't know what they don't know. They have no awareness. They always have all these harebrained schemes, right? Thinking, oh, this is how they're going to fix their life. In a fucking inflation era, they have all these crazy ideas. They start self-diagnosing. And then they'll tell me that, oh, John, you're wrong, even though I keep getting students late. I disagree with you. Is like, for fuck's sakes, man. They hate on me, especially the taller ones, the samurais, right? Who cannot switch over to ninja game. That's why they're crying. But the first thing is that you gotta be like unconscious incompetence first, right? That's the first step of skills. This is not a good area to be, because when you're not aware, you don't know why you're getting rejected. even though your voice may sound extremely angry to women and you cannot hear it, because a lot of them have alexithymia, emotional blindness, and they always say, "Oh, John, you're trying to gaslight me. Everyone will say that's like the audio was fine, right?" And it's like, and you play it on YouTube Live, and then all the Latinos are like, "I cannot hear the mistake. It's not angry sounding," and then everyone else is like, "Dude, that's the angriest sounding thing I've ever heard." Because Latinos have alexithymia. That's why they have this massive fucking Latino ice, illegal alien frown. This is a fact. Whenever you look at mugshot, Latinos are all like this. They have alexithymia. They have like an upside down smile, emotional blindness. So let me look at the next drill of the students. All right, so let's see. Current exercise, I mean, example or something. Okay. Well, basically, right, because you're doing time management exercise, maybe on a Google document, put A, B, C, D, E or something, right? So you put A1 task, for example, and you put like accounting exercise, right? A2, right? You might put like I have to meal prep for the week. A3, right? I have to pay the bill, something like that, right? And then B1 is like what, meal prepping or something. B2 exercising. C1 would be like, something not as important. Maybe like watching a movie or maybe something like that, or maybe just doing something else. Remember, my exercises for elite access is always like A1, and maybe number C, the consequences, maybe paying off some of the bills to some of the debt. D means delegate. So that means you have to like get somebody else to do it or use your chat GPT or something and try to offload some of your tasks for your work. E means you thought it was important, but it's not, like watching a movie or something or getting a drink. You can move some of the tasks to E. I hope that makes sense. That's what it's going to look like. That's going to be day one of the time management system. So yeah, that's a Latino student. He's the very last Latino student that gets to join my coaching. He didn't sign the contract. I said, "Oh, you don't need it," but could be a lot faster. So let's see. Another Latino student did a drill. I did not answer him for elite access. Yeah, I got pieces. It's starting to affect my state of mind. Yeah, okay, so slope downwards. That's me for the smile. That's what I'm trying to tell him. One side slope downwards. So for that Latino student, 21 years old, that's why they have a Latino frown. So basically, when I was playing a clip from Latino, his audio sounds angry, and then all the Latinos are like, "Oh, I don't hear it. I just thought maybe at the end it sounded like it's trailing off." It's like, no, it's like their emotions are not even like connected to their brain. It's like the wire is loose. I was like, shit, you all have the same alexithymia, right? That's when I realized. I'm not saying that of the general population of every Latino, but I'm just saying that of the pickup artists, the day gamers. There are two types of them that told me that I'm wrong, like two of them. And actually, this is one of the guys I'm telling the ABCDE thing. He also said that he'd been talking like that his whole life and that I'm wrong about it. It's like, and I had to get my other Latino student to call him. He called both of them. The really bad half Latino, half white worst student of the year. He called them a three-way call. Same with this guy. And then he started believing me. He says, "Do whatever John tells. He's probably right." So in reality, I had one of my other Latino students call two of them and explain it, right? And he's the guy who he made a video calling out the other hater. Women can really hear this and they really get turned off. So during the inflation, a lot of Latinos were struggling like crazy because their voice sounds so like off. There's so much stress in their voice because they're broke, right? When they're broke, their voice is very stressed because the loser effect. So dude sounds like a okay. And the problem with these guys is that they have some SMV. They have things going for them. but they cannot hear that in their voice. So that's what they call unconscious incompetence. So what's next level? It's called conscious incompetence, right? Conscious incompetence. When you're consciously incompetent, right? They know what their mistakes are when I call it out. When I tell them what their mistakes are, they don't really know what their mistakes are unless I let them know on elite access. But the problem with some of these unteachable cases, and we'll talk about that more, is that they themselves do not actually perceive the mistakes. Because with alexithymia, emotional blindness, they cannot hear it. It's almost like the emotional part is unplugged from their brain, from the perceptions. Other times I will call the student and then I will make them yell at their own brain, right? This is what they say. Okay, you can give it a try. If you were listening to your audio homework and it's not good, brain, I want to hear my mistakes and listen to what John says. Shut the fuck up. You got to say it really loud like that. And your brain will be like, oh, what the fuck? And it'll shock it out of like whatever. But this year in 2025, some people are so delusional. The half Latino, half white guy, at first he could hear his mistakes when he yelled at his own brain. But then after like a couple of days, his self-esteem was so low because he was failing every homework assignment that he could not hear a single fucking mistake. And it's like, oh, you're gaslighting me, John. Anybody else will say that sounded normal. Start crying like a bitch. Give a thumbs up for people that have alexithymia and they're delusional as fuck. So they yell very loud at the brain. You do that. You have to tell the brain to shut the fuck up. Because the low self-esteem is almost like a demon that's residing in your own head. It needs to be like, you got to really bitch slap it. It works for like 30 seconds. You can hear your mistakes. They'll be like, wow, the worst student of the year is like, I can't hear my mistakes. But the rest of you are like, oh, doesn't sound that great. The Chinese 3MP guy, he cannot hear his mistakes. He yelled at his own brain, does not work. So there's a second phase. Other times I ask them, like, what's your cousin's name? So for example, this guy, he has a roommate called Charles. So I say, imagine this is Charles' audio, right, to the Chinese guy. This is not yours. Can you hear the mistake? So it's okay. I'll say, this is Charles, has a Chinese accent. He went to China, even though he's black. And then he's using one of those Instagram filters that has his face, but it's actually Charles. So when he watch it as Charles, he'd be like, okay, let's see, this is Charles. And then he watched the video and they're like, oh my God, this is fucking awful. And I was like, yeah, that's what it looks like to women. That's what happens when you don't have your zombie VR is lifted and your perceptions are not changed and you hear it for 30 seconds watching as Charles, you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. Was I always this bad? And it's like, yes, now you become conscious incompetence. So do you read out the lines to yell at your own brain? I don't read out the lines. You roughly know it. So in case you need the audio and some people cannot yell at themselves. They'll be like, brain, stop being so lazy, right? I want to listen to John. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. They cannot do it because they can't yell at their own brain. They cannot challenge it. And I have the audio of this so you can hear it. There's 3 sets of it to deal with the mindsets. If you want me to send you the audio, I can. Okay? You can always like secretly put it into your phone somewhere and then you can listen to it. So how does it sound like? Just give me a second. Okay, that's it here. There's no voice. I want to hear my mistakes. So that's delusions, right? Does that make sense? If you hear that, your brain will be like, whoa, what the fuck? And then you can hear everything perfectly. No more delusions for 30 seconds. Remember the 4 traits of low self-esteem, delusions, half-assing it, the wrong path to sociopath, it blows up in your face, and quitting. So these are 4 voices to deal with it. Half-ass voice. I don't want to be lazy. I want to do the assignment properly. Shut the fuck up. Backstabber voice. I don't want to. Backstabber is the wrong path to sociopath. They always pretend to be your friend, telling you like you should not listen to John. You should do it this way. Listen to your ideas. Shut the fuck up. The last one, quitter voice. I don't want to quit. Stop talking to me. Shut the fuck up. Does that make sense? So that's the first set, right? I have like 3 audios. So 5 mindsets, right? Teachability, changeability, skill index, what we're talking about right now, believability, and also like manifestation, thoughts and feelings. Low coachability voice. I want to be coachable and improve my life. Shut the fuck up. Low adaptability voice. I want to be adaptable as fast as possible with its speed of implementation. So shut the fuck up. Skillless voice. I want to level up my skills and habit, not just tactics. So shut the fuck up. Low self-belief voice. I want to believe in myself. I can do it. So shut the fuck up. Bad manifestation voice. Stop controlling my thoughts and feelings, attracting negativity into my life. Shut the fuck up. Shut. Does that make sense? So that's like 5 mindsets. So what's the grit one? So I usually send the first audio to students. I don't send the other ones, but Mr. D, right? I can send you all 3. Keep them safe somewhere. You can listen to your earphones, and if you listen to all of these ones, right? All 3 of these audios, you will not procrastinate anymore and run away. 6 mindset voice. I want to open my mind. Stop closing my mind. Shut the fuck up. Low resilience voice. I want to be resilient. To finish this task. Shut the fuck up. Bad instinct voice. I don't want to listen to you. I want to listen to myself and follow the instructions. So shut the fuck up. Low tenacity voice. I want to finish what I started and not give up halfway. Shut the fuck up. Make sense? I'll send you the 3 audios right now, okay, Mr. D? Save these somewhere, right? Do not share this with others, but it's right over here. If you play all 3 of them, I guarantee you will not run away from your homework. This is a fast way. This is probably the best way. I just haven't used this as much because people are listening to it like it's their cousin's voice, like Charles, right? The cousin. So in most cases, for other students, they are not complete sociopaths, right? Or have extreme alexithymia or emotional blindness. Then they can hear if they listen to it, right? Like it's Charles, your cousin. So, and they'll be like, oh yeah, they could hear it at least 50% more. And they're like, oh my God, this is really bad. And I was like, yeah, this is how you actually sound like. But whenever we have an unteachable case, these guys are not coachable. You can be nice to them, right? Or you can be like disciplinary. They'll never learn because they have thin skin and they all have alexithymia. They all are delusional. So how can you tell a person they're delusional that they're delusional? It's like trying to explain to Charles Manson that they're delusional. They'll dismiss it. They cannot be aware. They know there's something wrong with them, but they cannot they cannot be conscious incompetence. No, I mean, I'm not sure what I wrote there, but you cannot hear your mistakes due to low self-esteem. And these 2 techniques does not work for you. So if both of them does not work, that's bad, right? Usually you'll quit. Whether you think about it from your cousin's point of view or you listen to those stuff, right? Like that's not yeah, that's your cousin. But if you can't hear it, then that's bad. You'll quit. So there's a video. You just say like, Charles is using an Instagram filter, right? Your face, right? Like I said. And that's just your like, that's not your voice. That's Charles. Then if you can't hear it, it's game over. You'll quit. Most people quit if they cannot hear it because they're delusional. Their self-esteem is so low, their ego is so high. There's a point when the student cannot hear it. The 3MP student cannot hear it when he calls himself out for the audio. But as soon as he switched over to Charles, he can hear it. And I was like, oh, thank God. You're not like the half Latino, half white guy. That guy cannot hear shit. And he's like, oh, thank God, right? It's almost impossible. It's like going to a gun range, right? And you're shooting, but you don't know where the bullets are aiming or hitting. Does that make sense? Because you cannot see the mistakes. You cannot perceive it. And then when I tell you that you missed the target, and then you're like, no, you're wrong, John. I thought it sounded pretty good. Or I hit the targets. It's like, oh, then the Latino, because they can't perceive it, because they're delusional, like literally it's like a zombie VR, like a MetaQuest 3 headset. It rewrites what they see, it rewrites what they hear. And then they'll tell me I'm wrong. They start fighting back. That's really delusional, delulu. The problem is that they have no awareness. They don't know that they're delusional. But if you could hear the mistakes, then you can change it. Right? It's just a movie Predator for Arnold Schwarzenegger. If it bleeds, we can kill it. If you can hear it, you can change it. If it bleeds, you can kill it. If you can hear it, you can change it. But if you can't hear it, then you're fucked. If it doesn't bleed, you cannot kill it. Give it a thumbs up for that, for understanding that skill sets, habits, not tactics. And one of my students, right, 3 on P, yeah, I mean, he's sending me a lot of homework assignments, was very mediocre, but now he's correcting it with discipline. But sometimes people are just like more disciplined. I don't make my students do squats or push-ups or anything like that unless they're part of 3 on P, because they need some results right away. So they, what I call the mating marriage mastery program. These are the people that want serious long-term results and they need a little bit more help. They can afford it, but they don't want a lesser experience, even though people with more grit can do it. But you get the point. This is how you force them to be conscious incompetence. Now you know what the mistakes are, but you find it very hard to change. The next stage is called the conscious competence. Rarely do students get into this category because as soon as they get a compliment that they done it right, their ego goes up and their self-esteem goes down and they fuck up the next one. They become delusional. So if you're an unteachable case Latino, you do it wrong every single time, they're never going to get there. But if you get there, they get a compliment because they have a high ego, low self-esteem, they're going to pump their state and get stuck. They're going to feel good. Then all of a sudden, they'll become more delusional because of the 4 traits of low self-esteem, because narcissistic personality disorder. Number 1, delusions. Number 2, half-assing it, becomes more lazy. Number 3, the wrong path, the sociopath. In 4 months, the decision blows up in your face. Number 4, you quit. So a narcissistic person with dark triad personality disorder, who's also lazy with ADHD or severe ADHD, are going to really struggle. But for the students that eventually gets conscious competence, that's very hard. That means they need to do so many drills, right? We usually put a check mark if they do it right. We put an X if they do it wrong. We get to see how many. This guy done 100 drills and 50% of them were bad. But he changed his habits. That's 100 drills versus the Latino doing like 18 or 17. Come on now. So you have to win more than you're losing, but every single 10 drills, I noticed a huge quantum leap in skills. So for that guy, he's done over 100. I have it all like labeled. So you have to make sure they're all like check marks as being correct. And I put on a punch card. Even though everything is a check mark, he's been taking supplements and there's a lot of check marks, but sometimes it's 50-50, it's mediocre. But you still got to get the skills down permanently. After 100, that's like 10 upgrades to your main character. So this is Ninja Game. And when you start using Ninja Game, you start getting higher skill level. There is no skills in using game tactics. There really isn't much like late testimonials for other day game coaches, or none at all recently. So my students, they get conscious competence, and that's why they keep getting laid. They don't always get there. Sometimes they fuck it all up, but because they're practicing the drills, they're much better than before. It's that simple. It's not rocket science, and it really isn't. So this is more like an army, like an IDF kind of training, or Krav Maga. So this is also like a ninja. Ninja has to level up, and they have to level up enough times. And all these skills eventually, if you did for 21 days in a row, and you skip no more than 2 days, or you did it 14 days, right? You become like conscious competence more of the times. This is why a lot of Latinos get laid. In the beginning, they skip all these fucking days, right? There's hoes everywhere in their fucking training. But then the last 2 weeks, right? They just, for some unknown fucking reason, they finally could focus. And they get laid and they become lazy again because they're not motivated. Once they get their dicks wet, they don't want to do it again. And then for the next few weeks, they're just like fucking lazy zombies. So, so muscle or mushies are necessary? I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you talking about muscles or are you talking about something else? All right. So to raise your score for your 20 out of 35, right? We don't have to go over it again, but it's going to raise your social skills, social flow drill category, your social calibrations, body language, and your emotional control for your whitewash tonality. Does that make sense? So that's very important. So I'm going to go to the bathroom very quickly right now. I'm gonna mute it. I've been holding it in. I'm gonna destroy my fucking bladder and my kidneys. So I'm gonna go as fast as I can. So just stay tuned. All right, I'm back. But man, that was a really big key. Key quite a lot. Oh shit, we lost a couple of people. Let's continue. Anyways, back. So the next, okay, we'll just play a testimonial in between, right? So we'll do it quick. Kind of works over here. So the next Latino testimonial will be this guy. He's like a high school student. That guy, 18-year-old high school girlfriend, right here. Colombian, Vancouver. So you see, there's a picture in your fashion before, right? When you started out, how was your fashion? I wasn't that good. Now, do you think fashion matters? Matters a lot. He didn't do it yet. I mean, he used it at least 30, right? Yeah. Social skills course, right? Social skills for him. Tell about the results. What did you get so far? So far, I got a hold from a girl. Yeah. I'm getting better results when I'm opening the set. Yeah. I feel more confident. I feel like the girls respond happier. They want to talk to me, stay with me for a bit. Even when I'm not doing some stuff wrong, still get good results. How many days are you into the program? I can just 8 days into it. And you're already like a blowjob. Yeah, right. When you first started, what do you think about the results? When I first started, I was thinking, okay, let's play it later on. What he get at the very end. Oh yeah, I mean, okay. So just go home. And then I said, let's people yeah, basically, he closed at her place, right? Because his parents didn't let him in his place. Because his fucking parents kept beating him. I moved him out. So, I think Mr. D, you actually know this guy. Am I right? He's from Vancouver. It's crazy fucking Latino parents. So there's so much trauma. They have generational trauma from one to another, creating secondary sociopaths. The guy's opinions is facts. he lost his mind. He stole my fucking watch. He stole my blazer because his other Indian friend, a backstabbing piece of shit, says that John's evil, right? Don't trust him. It's like, my old roommate called him out and says, "Why would John care about you? You're like just some stupid high school student with no money, and John's nice enough to help you. You don't even deserve it." And then he's like, "Yeah, you're right." You know? And then he gave me back my stuff, and then he updated the testimonial, and he got the girlfriend. He seemed, he brought her home from high school. So somebody's texting me right now. So your phone's fucking frozen. The background, that's fucked up. That's kind of fucked up because it's either visuals or after those 10 breaths or something, right? It's either visual, logical, you can hear the sounds, or a vibe, right? If you don't hear anything, you're so out your head, right? You're so left brain, right? Because of fucking Asperger's engineering shit. Why don't you try 20 breaths and see if that works? It has to be full breaths, right? You gotta really calm down the nervous system. Give it a try with 20. If it doesn't work, right, before you work on the drawing exercises to get into your right brain, to be in the moment, right? Like a natural, I want you to try 20 breaths. It depends like how long you tap, right? You want to think every single second, right? 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So when you're holding your breath, right? It's like breathing in. So it's quite long. Hold for 4 seconds. Like that. And then you breathe out. Hold 4 seconds. Yeah, you want to keep it long like that. Does it make sense? 1,000, 1,000. Then try again. See if you can actually see in the moment. If you cannot do that, right? Don't just give up on this exercise. All right, let's continue. So, can I imagine 19? No, it will land 0 lays. If it's 19, you just pull or you'll come up short. So you'll come up short. It wouldn't work. It'll be like really annoying. And then you're gonna start to think Daygame is stupid because she's not gonna close in the bedroom. So skills is the most important. Next concept I want to talk about is called the opposite is true. So because the last 5-day challenge, we talked about the 20 out of 35 concept. In case you forgot, right? Looks is out of 10, money out of 5, status is out of 10, social skills is 2.5 points, social calibration is 2.5 points, emotional control is 2.5. But guess what? During the fucking inflation, it could be minus 2.5. Right? Latinos could be minus 2.5 for emotional control because they're poor and they have big frown. And then it's already minus 2 points for the natural status. So that's like minus 4.5 points. Latinos are fucked without my training. So they complain because they don't want to be a fucking ninja, right? Oh, I'm a samurai. Right. So you get 20 out of 35 points, you automatically get laid. And like the other person says, right? Mr. Future Expat. Hopefully you're not that other hater, right? That was a fucking samurai who could not switch a ninja game. No, I mean, he wants to be a future expat because he sucks. He sucks in that country, in the United States, on the east side. It's kind of funny because he's in a state that a lot of my students got laid from, even Latinos. And 2 of the bad students, right, that try to show up and talk shit about me on forum groups, they're both from the same fucking place. It's like Sanctuary City. I'm not going to say which city. New York, it's a hell of a town. I won't say it, but you have to get 20 out of 35 and you automatically get laid. Of course, stubborn Latinos don't want to change their fashion. They don't want to wear elevator shoes. They want to wear migrant fashion, which is just a white t-shirt and jeans and white sneakers. One guy got so triggered after he bought Elite 30. He's like, Well, why should I just whitewash? I was like, there's a fucking ice raid. What the fuck are you talking about? He's also from New York. He only paid for the first part of Elite Bundle Resurrections. Right? That's like Elite 30. He's like, oh, but I think jeans and a t-shirt will be fine. Oh, man. You just look at all the migrants that they captured, the ones with the double chin, right? And overweight. They all wear like a hoodie or they wear like a shitty, like, the same thing, right? White t-shirt, dark blue jeans, white shoes, or migrant fashion, like really poor casual fashion. So the fastest way to get iced, and I don't want to be mean, but there's no money involved, you know, and there's no whitewashed. You're going to create xenophobia because you dress like a poor person. You're not whitewashed. You create xenophobia. You're not husband material. You have opinions as facts, like a Charles Manson. I'm not saying all Latinos are sociopaths. I'm just saying for these ones who are pickup artists. So the second thing is I want to talk about is the 5 mindsets, because we're going to talk about the opposite is true, right? For this one, you got the opposite is ninja. So because you want to do true ninja strategy, right? You must be able to have a real ninja mindset. So you need ninja endurance. So the 5 mindsets are how to be teachable. How teachable are you out of 10? So teachability out of 10, changeability is out of 10. How much can you adapt in the training for the drills before you go out there? And most Latinos, they really struggle to adapt. The good students can adapt eventually, even if they're half-assed their drills. But because they do it, they'll adapt in the field. The next one's called the skill index, right? Because Latinos are allergic to skills because they're samurais. A lot of Latinos do not have a lot of skills because they have one step for everything. They cannot do multiple steps, and they compound that with excessive ADHD. It's almost impossible for them to show up for 3 days in a row during 2025. They'll disappear on the 3rd day, and then they'll disappear for 2 or 3 more days, then they'll come back. They'll do it 1 day, and then they'll have 2 more days break. They'll come back 1 day, and then they'll have a 4-day break. Their minds are designed to siesta because of hyper-focus ADHD, severe ADHD. And the believability index is the next one. It's really important to believe in yourself that you can do it. Latinos no longer believe in themselves because they have a massive delusions. The taller ones, especially the samurais, because they have more of an ego, because they used to get laid just by doing very little work. They believe that their past equals the future. So they just have a belief, but they just don't have the skills behind it because they're not a ninja, they're a samurai. But samurai that has not changed into ninja, and also affects their believability index in themselves. This is scored out of 10. They used to believe in themselves, now they don't. It's really confusing. And lastly, your manifestation, thoughts, and feelings. Whenever you see Latinos, right, people that are haters, they always love to have opinions as facts. You're like, what do you mean? They have very distorted thinking. These are, in my opinion, just speculating. Not saying all Latinos are sociopathic, but in the general population, they're not. But for these pickup artists, they are. They have distorted thinking like Charles Manson. They literally make declarations out there. Oh, all supplements are bad, right? And they'll give you liver problems if it's high dosage, right? They'll make declarations. Oh, John's workout plan is not that good, whatever, right? Whatever. And they work out a lot, so they don't need it. Dude, my students are way bigger than you. They're like twice as big for V-shape. So when they have these distorted thinking patterns, opinions as facts, not facts as opinions, because I have students late, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking out my ass here like they are. I'm talking about some real stuff behind this. Like, this is based on science, a repeatable science. So, and here's the data. But if their thoughts are affected, right, and they have so much opinions as facts, right, and they're also very triggered because they have a far left mentality.
Yeah, they're like the far left, Whenever you think about the Democrats or the far left, they're always having meltdowns because they're always irrational. That's how Latinos are like. When they have a meltdown, like the far left, lunatics, They usually quit, but they resurrect and they come back.
So we'll talk more about that soon, but you can see with these 5 traits, right? Manifestation is out of 10. So manifestation means thoughts and feelings. Most Latinos would be like 0. So if your mindsets are like 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Unteachable case, you will not get laid. So for Latino students, I may not accept them anymore this year. I was on a sales call with one of them. He still has to sign a contract if I let him join. I haven't decided yet. So I originally told him no, but he just says like, please give me a chance later on. He needs to get some stuff in order. I was like, fuck, okay. But yeah, but as long as you sign, no problem. I'll sign the contract. All right. Only Latinos will sign that contract. I still need it revised even further from the lawyer. So they have to sign a commitment contract if they want to be accepted. But I have less stress if I don't accept Latino students in the future. But I cannot discriminate. So I can say I don't accept unteachable cases. So if most of them are unteachable cases, they have money problems and they cannot focus, and they happen to be Latino, it's not because they're Latino that I'm not, or I'm banning them all. It's because they have unteachable case. I'm not obligated legally to teach unteachable cases who are not coachable. I don't have to for my business. I cannot discriminate against Latinos, which I will not, because I'll even let the other guy join because he's willing to sign a contract. Does that make sense? So that therefore, I don't slide into the category of discrimination. Everyone can join as long as they sign a contract from now on. So I deal with this every single day. Like, oh no, who's going to procrastinate now, Latinos? Oh, who's going to be the unteachable case? Yeah, those are the 5 mindsets, right? Just to reiterate: teachability, changeability, skill index, believability index, and manifestations for thoughts and feelings. But like I said, the opposite is true. Rather than having a bad mindset with low mindsets, you should do the opposite. You should try to be more teachable instead of having a one-track mind. Admit it, everything that you believe when it comes to Daygame, right? Despite your previous successes, maybe on Tinder or whatever, night game shit, you don't know what you don't know because you don't know what you're talking about. But they won't do that. They'll dismiss things. They'll changeability. Well, you must demonstrate that you're able to change, to adapt. Otherwise, you're just an unteachable case because you're doing the opposite. So if you've done this one-track mind shit, one-step thinking for everything, and you cannot do multiple steps like most Latinos, then you're not going to improve. You're just going to fail every single time in 2025. Most likely, they're going to quit within a week and a half. These guys who never pass a single assignment. I had the worst students of the year, which is a half Latino, half white guy. He never passed a single homework assignment ever. Everything was wrong. That was the skill index. What skills? It was like, oh my God, world record before for something. Well, listen, your job is not related to, your success. If you're 2 Asperger's in one area, and then you try to bring it to Daygame and saying, then you have a massive ego. You have not accomplished things. You need to have your own mindsets for everything. Daygame has different mindsets in your job. Does that make sense? They all have a different skill set and different mindset. So what does that have to do with your previous world record? Nothing. And just because you have a world record, right? Whatever your job is, not related to Daygame. A lot of people take their jobs and they try to fit it in like a puzzle. It does not fit. So if they're good at one thing, right, and they think it's metaphorically similar, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they're a magician, but let's just say hypothetically they were. Once they know the mechanics behind the magic, they can replicate on the magic show. There's no need to drill it down. You just need to know remember what to do. The techniques. There's only one way to do the magic tricks, usually. However, it's not the same with Daygame. It's not like memorization. This is a skill. This is more like a mixed martial arts. It's very dynamic because you're dealing with humans, women. It's not just on stage. You're dealing with humans, and you need to have a skill index. You can't do the opposite of everything I'm saying because you never know how they're going to react for women. And just by using techniques is not enough. It's not working. They'll dismiss it, of course. Believability index. You must believe in yourself, right? And not in a delusional way like these Latinos, but because they got laid in the past. You must actually admit that it's possible, because even the shorter Latinos are getting laid this year and last year. Ninjas, they're ninjas, and they're still getting laid. So they have a believability index. You should believe that if they can do it, you can do it. And the reason why you can't do it is because you have higher SMV and it hurts your ego a lot more because you're taller and better looking. And your thoughts and feelings are like fucked. So you should not be thinking, you know, like you should not think, oh, this is a cult, right? Or no, shut up. This is like the ninja camp or IDF. You don't need to think here because it works. If you think you're going to disrupt the process of the drills, right? If you think too much and keep fighting back. Also, the approach is transformed when you do the drills. So you don't need to have a boot camp or samurai camp with tactics. That's a waste of money. So if you get triggered because of low self-esteem and high ego, I can't change it because you're ADHD. And whenever you're ADHD, a lot of Latinos, we're talking about Latinos because they're the worst students and they have the worst traits, and they have the traits of all the other ethnicities. Like they have like the Asians' lack of emotions. They have the Indians' procrastination, right? They have the Middle Eastern crashing out. They have the Black students' narcissism. It's almost like you put everything together equals a Latino in 2025. I'm not saying that the general population, but I'm saying that of the Latinos that are day gamers are interested in my courses and stuff, and they don't want to do the work because they don't want to be a ninja. They want to be a samurai. That's kind of stupid. But at the same time, I still get some of them laid. Many of them laid, actually. The shorter ones. They're always short. So for their feelings, right? If you get triggered all the time and they have a meltdown, that's bad. Oh man, Latinos melt down a lot. Not saying all Latinos, I'm just saying the ones I teach. I see meltdowns and I'm like, which one's gonna melt down soon, right? Which Latino? Which is the next one? They always have meltdown, like the far left Democrats. So let's see. Okay, so you're on the logical side, right? So if you've done the breathing for 20, right? 100% you're in the logical one. So it takes you 20 breaths, right? For that short time, you can hear the stuff in the room, right? Your brain process things logically. So that's when you're more in the moment for after the 20 like breath, right? The box breathing sets. That's how you get into state. You might have to do 20 breaths before you approach just to get into more of a state, a flow state of being in the moment. It's not about RSD state game, right? Fuck RSD. This is more like to be in the moment. That's what it feels like, just temporarily. For that 10 seconds that you felt peaceful, do it again. Tell me what else you observe while you're back in that state for 10 or 20 seconds before you snap out of it. All right, I'm just texting, I understand. So, but yeah, the far left Democrats, they always have a meltdown. You got to do the opposite. You got to be stoic. You cannot have meltdowns. It's not going to work if you have meltdowns. So you got to fix your thoughts, right? Maybe for temporarily, you don't think, you just do. Be a Terminator, Terminator grit. Because if you think you're going to steer away the coaching towards your direction because you're delusional. And if you feel angry and you're going to have a meltdown, you're going to procrastinate and then you're going to mentally crash out and quit. You're going to rage quit. So you've got to do the opposite of that. Also, we're going to talk about the third system. What are we going to talk about? Okay. We're going to talk about grit. Because grit is a growth mindset. This one is not like, you know, it's not all a 10. It's either you have it or you don't for grit. So the G stands for a growth mindset. If you want to do the opposite, you don't have a growth mindset. Don't consider, but do it. The ones who consider what I say and decide whether or not it's important or not to listen to, they're the ones who do not get laid. When a Latino, right, they start considering, usually they'll always disagree with something. They'll be like, oh no,
I can't use the supplements I could get from food. It's like, what the fuck? Or else another guy who said, "Oh, I don't want to wear the fashion because I feel awkward." But dude, you're like an old 50-something-year-old man, right? You have no value. You dress like an old Homer Simpson. It's like, and then he just rage quits, right? The more you have this one-track mind, the more likely, without growth mindset, you're going to quit. So, are the same as presence or being present? No, being present in the moment, not just presence, present in the moment, like a natural. Can't forget to show support, dropping a like. Thank you, JP. So, as we're talking about crashing out, right? JP has crashed out twice, but I made you unquit because I care about my students. So I was going to talk to you, right? Tomorrow on day number 2, I'm going to give you guys, if you guys are here, I'll give you all the strategies of Navy SEALs and stuff, how you can use more resilience. To give you guys a preview, I know I should not give it away. Navy SEALs have like 4 tenets. Goal setting, right? Down to every single second, minute, hour, 24 hours, days, weeks, months, years. It's all stacked together. Number 2 is positive visualization. Number 3, positive self-talk. And number 4, stress control. You saw the box breathing, right, with the other Chinese student. I'm going to teach you some real shit that you can use to improve your resilience. So you make sure you're there tomorrow, but let's continue with today's class. All right. So any student, right, or an old guy, when he starts like having opinions as facts and disagrees and will not go with my frame and listen to what I say, even though it works, they're going to lose their mind. They're going to crash out. They're the first ones to beat themselves up. Mr. D, you have done that. They'll beat themselves up. They're the most impatient ones. They are 100% outcome dependent. They have 0% towards the process. You know? But you should never consider, because your delusions, low self-esteem, your opinions as facts, not facts as opinions. You decide what's right and wrong. So you start having gaps in your training. Let's say I gave you 20 suggestions, right? But you only accepted 2 of them. Mr. D, you do the same thing, right? So you must have a growth mindset. So it's not like you accept 2 things and then you ignore 18. You must do all 20 as fast as you can. Everything I teach you is important. It's not just a nice thing to do, a suggestion. I don't waste time telling you stuff that you don't need. I'm not a tall, self-proclaimed white coach or other Caucasian dating coaches with, that don't have late testimonials since the pandemic. I have it since the pandemic, inflation, and even before that. You have to start skill maxing like a ninja, dude. So basically, the next one is resilience. So grit, GR, right? R stands for resilience. G stands for growth mindset. The bad Latino students cannot do the drills and they cannot make the approaches. They have a massive approach anxiety. So if they don't, they have a massive aversion to doing any drills. In fact, even one of my white students, I'm sure he's okay with me saying this. That's why I wrote here. He's half white, but you get the point. He's white. He looks white. But he'll, he has an issue with growth mindset or resilience. He'll do the homework, right? But he'll still crash out. He'll sometimes miss days. So, all right, let's play a testimonial and then just pick some random Latino, right? We'll just play parts of it. We'll use the actual computer speakers. That'll be better. So this is a Gen Z student, the guy who's like 21 years old. No, I'll play another guy, a 5'7" guy from for Germany.
Your dating skills, then
5'7" Latino.
person who can help you the most is yung ating coach by Justin Wayne, by computer skills, and by revolutionaries. I learned a lot from all of them, but the person who was like the most important, it was Jung I can recommend you. Yeah. You can also like watch the video and where I have like a same with a woman and it's something that you can do that everyone can do. If you dedicate time and get adequate coaching. The main person who I learned like the most, it was him. So I wanted to recommend you that you are going to save like a lot of money and you're going to save like a lot of time if you accept his mentorship.
All right. That's cool. Next one. So, one second. All right. So the next one, I want to talk about the unteachable case category because there's also an easy case, normal case, hard case, impossible case, and unteachable case. I want to define what that is. This is not some kind of North Korean dictatorship or some kind of Squid Games kind of coaching, right? Where only the strongest student survives while they kill all the other ones off. Metaphorically speaking. The unteachable cases are different. So, what's an easy case? Well, these easy cases, right, are going to be 0 Latino students in my lifetime. But in easy cases like the students who gets over 100 lays, and I have many students like that. But the 100 lays does not count towards the testimonial number. So, for example, I had one black student. He had 100 lays. He came back in March and says, I credit this to your coaching. I got over 100 lays for Daygame. Okay? But that only counts as one in my testimonial number because I only count instances. That screenshot, 100 lays, counts as one. Does that make sense? I put everything in a big garbage bag and I count as one. Before in my coaching, let's say he got laid like during the coaching when he's not kicked out or banned for a long time. Let's say he got like, I don't know, 20 lays, maybe 15 or 20. Those separate instances, then I'll post them when he's coaching. I had another student who's Latino. He came back after a couple of years. He got like 8 or 9 fuck buddies. That only counts as one because he came back later on. Also, the Jewish white student who contacted me recently, he still was Ukrainian. The 8 out of 10 Ukrainian. He's still traveling with her. But after 12 lays, right, he was gone. He rage quit because he thought I was being too tough on him. He quit for like 4 months. And he came back later on. I had the argument. I talked on the phone. He says he got 3 more lays, but that only counts as one. Does that make sense? It's only one instances. I lowball it. I'm not like tall self-proclaimed high lay count coaches, where you post positive YouTube comments as testimonials. They call it thousands of testimonials, but how many of them are laid? I don't like. How can you trust a YouTube comment? First of all, how can you verify? Second of all, is a positive YouTube comment. They did not get laid. That doesn't count. Third of all, Tinder testimonials is not lay testimonials. That's a body count. That's not a lay count. You're swiping on fucking pictures. People are using AI pictures these days. It's fucking stupid. How could you count some swiping stuff? That's not game. That's like, okay, a little bit text game, but that's not results. That's a body count, not a lay count. So fucking stupid. So when you look at just the code approach stuff, me versus him, I got like fucking like so many more times than him. It's ridiculous. Like 50 or 100 or even hundreds of more times. I'm not sure. But I'm speculating it's going to be quite a lot for student results. Fuck Tinder. But as I'm saying, a lot of these things do not count towards the testimonial count. Everything's just put in the garbage bag. No Tinder testimonials count. And if you write a positive review for my coaching, it does not count. I don't give a fuck about your positive reviews. What does your positive review have to do with anything? What the fuck? I don't give a fuck about your positive review. If you didn't get laid, you're not actually going to be a testimonial. And no, it doesn't count towards a number because otherwise this year it would jump by 100 late testimonials. It did not happen. It wouldn't be like 770 or 766 late and post testimonials because that one guy. No, it doesn't fucking count for shit. So that's how I count it. I lowball the shit of everything. So you can't get laid if you wear jeans. In the past, you could get laid when you wear jeans. But these days, they're changing their fashion because they want to be more whitewashed. if Latinos wear jeans, right? Who else wears jeans? Migrants, illegal aliens wear jeans. They all wear jeans. They all wear the exact same fucking jeans and hoodies and stuff. You don't want to be like that, right? You want to be whitewashed in husband material. So, would you get laid? Well, it's going to be a lot of approaches. We're talking about like over like 400 approaches, maybe 500. You might get laid, but very unlikely. For some people, they might have 0 lays just by wearing. So yeah, jeans is like Gen Z, for example, wear jeans too, right? They have curly hair, or it's their stupid mushroom hair, and they have like a stupid they're stupid fashion, right? But 63% of Gen Z are single. If that's the case, why wear the same shit they're wearing? Poor fashion, like poor college fashion. Why wear fucking poor jeans? Why make it harder for yourself? Because women wants to get married, they want to procreate, they want a husband. And you look at the women that hit the wall, they want a husband. They don't want no poor person. So yeah, like that's saying. Only counting this is okay. I'm getting a little tired. So if a few students got 100, right, it still counts as one. It's just how it is. One guy has 150 lays, but during the first month of training, he got 7 lays in a row. That only counts as one. He also got another, like later on, he showed me his stats. He got another like 20 something lays, but that still counts as one because he came back later on. The screenshot only shows like a bunch of them, but I only count as one. So, Gen Z is like depressed now. I have many 21-year-old Gen Z students. The Latino guy's depressed. He just doesn't know it yet. He cannot feel it, but he's doing a massive frown. The Latino frown that you see on all the mugshots. And all the mugshots by ICE, only the Latinos have a frown, every single one of them. The other ethnicities don't have a frown. It's kind of weird. So the bigger the frown, the bigger the crime. No, I'm just joking. But I'm not generalizing all Latinos or stereotyping. I'm just talking about those ones. So anyways, yeah, you get the point. That's how I count things. I don't want to stuff my testimonial. So if we count just the lays, right, the students will have over 150 or 1,500 lays or something or more. But we're only counting this. So we're lowballing it. So as I'm saying, everything's a testimonial to other coaches. ABCs of low self-esteem Asians. Any positive review, even though they don't get laid or just got fucking Tinder laid, any sort of shit becomes a testimonial. Such a low bar. I only count if you get laid or you pulled. So the easy cases, the reason why they can do it is because they're not fighting back like the bad Latino students. They accept everything I'm saying. Like a Terminator, they install it and they execute. Rather than accepting like maybe 2 things, right, that I say, and 18 of them you completely ignored, 20, these guys can accept all 20 of them. They'll do every single thing as fast as possible. So Mr. D, right, you were talking earlier about it. How can you do better? Terminator grit. If you can just be a Terminator, accept everything I'm saying and not think, and even if you feel triggered, you do it anyways like a Terminator, you'll solve your problem. So in terms of teachability and changeability, right? Not only do they have a 10 out of 10 teachability for easy cases, they also accept things as it is true. They also change right away. So it's almost like you're installing programs into them. They do the drills. It doesn't take them long. They actually will do every single thing you say. It's very bizarre. They're very good implementers. They look at you when you're teaching them and you're thinking, hey, are you spacing out? You don't look like you're listening to me. They just do this, right? They put their hands over here and they just listen. And they remember every fucking thing. What? Give it a thumbs up for people like that. Like very good, easy cases that are teachable. And there's no resistance because the left brain is not activated. They don't think. That's why you saw me like making the other student go into his right brain, that Chinese 3MP student. Because your left brain is a zombie side. That's why I told him. I've done another 20. Definitely no visual enhancements or Muklo, but just subtle ringing voice, right? I can notice, right? Yes, you're 100% logical. So that's why he's engineer. But yeah, you can see that, right? Because I told him his left brain is fucking him up. So when he can get out of his left brain for 20 seconds, that's how his life is going to be like. He can hear stuff. Everyone has a different modality. Whenever I breathe like that, the box breathing, I see more shadows and stuff, right? Because I'm more of a visual person. You can probably see by the way I dress. How do you make somebody go into the right brain? Well, there's a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, okay? So let's see if there's some pictures and some homework assignments I can send them. So Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. This is a good book to get there. When I was in art school before, we had to learn how to draw, okay? So let's say, for example, this is a guy over here, right? Hopefully you can see it. But if you try and name things, it's hard to draw. But if you draw upside down, right, like this, safe form. If you draw this picture upside down, right, you can actually draw it because you're not using your left brain. Thinking is like a graphic design, naming things. So that's one way of doing it. The other thing is the negative spaces. So this is like a vase or something, a vase. It's hard to see. You're supposed to draw the other half of the vase. You cannot really see it, but let me see if I have another picture. It's too fucking bright. Let me see if I turn it down. Shit, it's already fucking 100% down. Shit, I can't even fucking see it now. No, you can't see this one. Or you can draw the negative shapes. Negative space. You don't actually draw the object, you draw everything else around it. But yeah, these are very abstract concepts. If you draw everything else around, right, you eventually the object will show up. So maybe drawing the right side of the brain. Exercises. Can you see this one? No, you can't. The vase is too bright. But yeah, it has a lot of exercises. I'm not sure if you can see this one. But he was drawing everything else around it and it creates a face. So that's how you're able to snap out of it. When you're drawing and you're doing it decently, it's almost like you'll snap out of it. Okay, here's a negative space example. Is a good one. So this guy's drawing everything else around the plants, and it becomes the plants. Get it? He was just shading around it. So these are not the greatest example, but here's a chair. So you don't draw the chair, you just shade around it and then it creates a chair. So you guys see things as they are, right? And when you get into this flow state, time goes by very quickly. You become in the moment. You don't think symbols and stuff. You're not logical. You're not like an engineer, right? So there's no resistance because their left brain is not activated because they have a higher self-esteem. So they don't have to worry about the 4 traits of low self-esteem. That's why they don't suck for easy cases. They have very high self-esteem. They're not ADHD. They're not unfocused. They don't have the Latino fuck behavior, which number 1 is called the one-track mind or doing 1 steps. They cannot do it in a sequence. Number 2, the wrong path, the sociopath. It blows up in your face in 4 months for a bad decision, right? Number 3, they're having a Latino meltdown. Number 4, they'll rage quit right afterwards. Number 5, they'll resurrect themselves and go back to stage 1. It's like a nonstop hell of just failure. Unteachable cases. I'm not saying all Latinos are like that. I don't want to generalize, but A lot of Latinos that are bad students who are complainers, they're all like that. They're lazy because they're ADHD. If they're ADHD, they don't do the homework assignment. They don't deposit into the emotional bank account. They withdraw from it. Then the fucking 4 traits would be like fucking twice as much, right? They become twice as delusional, half-assing, they become lazy. They start doing the wrong decisions and quitting really quickly. So you got to learn how to do the opposite, like a ninja. Have no meltdowns, right? You're only there to learn. So normal cases, what's the difference? They ask a few questions here and there, so they're still activating their left brain because they need more fucking clarity, you know? Because they need more clarity. And that's not that important, I say. Because they ask a few questions here and there because they need more clarity and they're not doing the drills. The ninjas, you know, the 2 roads are very simple. It's like a car, right? 2 roads. You got to get your car moving forward for the drills, right? This is a slower road. So you got to travel like slower. But every single time you make excuses, the car stops. And then it'll go again like next time. And you take too many breaks and you never get to the end point of the drills. The other ones are the approaches, right? Drills and approaches. Whenever you don't fucking approach enough, your car's going to stall out. It's kind of like that. These are the most important things. So that's how you do it. That's how you get laid. The drills are super important. You need to have more drills than you do for approaches. So easy cases get laid within like 1 day or 3 days. Entirely possible, but for unteachable case Latinos, right? It's impossible for them. In 2025 during the tariff, that other half Latino, half white student, a really bad student, he's never going to get laid. Like, he wants to be a passport bro. He's never going to get laid in the United States for a day game. It doesn't matter how many coaches he goes to. He's just not going to get any results. Too much cortisol. And he's not coachable. And women can hear how angry he sounds. So normal cases, they get laid within like 3 weeks, averagely. They ask a few questions, whatever, right? But 1 week or 3 weeks. And also, the left brain is like the zombie side. It needs clarity before it could do anything. But that's not. It's like an army, right? You always have to like. Do you need to ask questions in the army or a ninja camp, or should you just follow the coach and do exactly what he says, and see what happens? So even if you explain to them these concepts for unteachable cases, they don't get it. For unteachable cases, they just scowl at you. They'll get offended like this. Whenever I talk about them, and when they get offended, they're not learning. They're dismissing. They'll say I'm the worst person in the world. Then they'll be more lazy. And stop shifting the blame because they're losers. So what are hard cases? They usually are people with Asperger's syndrome, high functioning autism. They usually are good at one skills, like engineering. They're world class at it professionally, but they cannot do multiple steps. Like they could do okay. They cannot. But for them, they need to understand every detail before they even get started. Like engineers, right? They'll never let a car out of a fucking factory unless they understand every detail and over engineer it. So how many things? Let's say there's like, we'll use the number 20. I give them 20 major instructions. Easy cases would do all of them without thinking. Normal cases, they'll ask questions. They'll do like 5 or 6 questions, then do the rest. They'll do 15 of them. Hard cases, they'll do like for all 20 of them, they'll just ask 20 questions and they will not do it. They'll literally procrastinate because they need to understand. But in the war, right, the general cannot keep flying to the field, the battlefield, to explain to you and then fly away back to base and keep going back and forth because you lose the battle. Because you need to understand everything. Why not just shoot the fucking Russians in the face? Metaphorically speaking. You don't have to understand everything. Do you need to understand how a light switch works before you flip on the fucking light switch? Do you need to understand electricity and all the principles? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Because they're Asperger's. Engineers will get the car out of the factory. They'll never get out of the factory because everything needs to be understood and perfect. So they're so busy thinking about it, they never even start. They're already lost. They're not a ninja. Ninjas need to execute and not think. You know, ninjas, right, will pray in front of a candle, right, for many hours. And then afterwards, when they're focused, they go out on their mission without thinking. So when I approach, I don't think at all. I'm automated. Everything is second nature because they've been drilled down. There's no thinking involved. So an impossible case is a lot like a hard case, okay? This is a lower. They're still coachable. I still accept impossible cases. But this type is not very easy to like teach. But they're not like unteachable cases. Impossible cases are the ones with the meltdowns. Whenever you show them a student getting laid, these people beat themselves up. Just like the unteachable cases, right? The half Latino guy. But I said to him, hey, that Chinese student, he just became a father. It's like, good for him, right? And then he quits. But these people always beat themselves up. They're very emotional. They always have this outcome dependency. They expect to get laid in like 1 week and a half or 2 weeks. But they don't do any of the work. They're always in their head and they're always dismissing things, but they still follow the instructions. They're just really fucking slow and emotional, right? Mr. D, sometimes you're in this category or sometimes you're an unteachable case. Fix it. So stop beating yourselves up over rejections. They'll shoot themselves in the foot. You know, they'll slap themselves across the face over and over. They cannot help it. They rage quit all the time. Every time they have a massive rage or tantrum, they have literally added another 4 months to their fucking lay. That means it's pushed forward by 4 months. It's like a time machine, right? If you're easy case, the lay just moves forward on the timeline and it's faster. If your hard case is a little bit longer, if you're an impossible case, it's pushed to a year, and then unteachable cases never. So they have more meltdowns, they become impossible cases, they have Asperger's and a bit of autism, and they just have rage. It's not good. The frustrations, the frustration is also affecting your manifestation index. Your thoughts and feelings is affecting your believability. It's affecting your resilience. These guys are the most outcome dependent. They only focus on the lay. They're always thinking lay. They don't focus on how to get there. It's like a basketball player who don't work on their free throws, their mechanics, and they only think about ball in the hoop, ball in the hoop, ball in the hoop. It's like outcome dependent. You want to get the ball in the hoop, you focus on the process. It's not like RSD process. You get it? They don't focus on the like it's not RSD. Oh, it's just trust in the journey. No, it's not like that. I have a proven process. They never get through it because they rage quit and melt down. That's why you never give up. They're like the far left. They're irrational, like Kamala Harris. They become very dysfunctional, like zombies. But the difference is that they're not coachable. I mean, the difference is they're still coachable. My bad. Impossible cases are still very coachable. They just slow as shit. They take 1 year to get laid. Hard cases, they take like 6 months to get laid, but these guys take 1 year. And the reason why some impossible cases still get laid within a year is because finally they submitted their ego and did it my way. So if they're an unteachable case, they take a break for 2 years. And one of the years they finally did it my way, then they get laid. Like John was right all along, right? That's what they'll say. They didn't know why they were slow, and they come back and they become slow, and then they get kicked out again. You know, at least for impossible cases, they tried their best. And here's how you can guarantee to never get laid in a million years. Okay? You cannot blame me for it. But I had a couple of bad Latino students, and all of them were tall. They're all good-looking, high-value, unteachable cases. They have options. They have opinions as facts. And they have a lot of cortisol. Not only do they have opinions as facts, they also have meltdowns. They all quit easily. And they all have so much cortisol in their system. And the more SMV they have, if it's muscles or height or looks, the more it hurts their ego if they get stuck. These people do the opposite. Forget about drills and the exercises. For example, if you look at their drills, right? They do like 12 drills, which is hardly anything. My Chinese 3MP student has already done 100 drills. He surpassed, that just by working on one skill with whitewash tonality. While these guys are saying, "Oh, I've already done the drill once. Why am I doing it again?" You can't get people like that late if you're doing the opposite. They're samurai who is like offended by ninja game. So anyone else they'll say anyone else will say my voice is not angry. It sounds angry as shit because they have alexithymia. All these guys have alexithymia. It's hard to read their emotions. They're emotionally damaged, they're frustrated, and it shows up in their voice. Their tonality is so bad, it turns women off. They cannot hear it. Their brains are not connected for the emotional aspect. They always run away. They're avoidant. They're like always like super avoidant. So you need to like think about the two ninja roads that you gotta travel: drills and approaches. They just don't have much of each. They can't. There's no transformation. So no matter how hard you try to make them do something, you beg them to do their homework, they're already disappearing. They're physically gone. So when they try to blame you or blame me or saying that they need more quote caring and stuff, it doesn't work, because even if you try to be nicer to them, they're not going to change. You cannot pander to these people. It doesn't matter if you're like, disciplinary or you're very caring. It's like a nail, a rusted nail. You hit the nail hard with discipline over and over. They're not going to do anything different. They're going to resist and run away. If you hit the nail softly, they're still going to do the same shit. Okay? So I'm going to play another testimonial quickly, but I think this one's very good because this guy was an unteachable case, and then he came back and he got married and then he procreated. So I'll use my phone for this one. I'll make this quick. I'll try to get through this as soon as possible. Okay? Because we have a lot to discuss for these 5 days. I have so many things to say. I have so many late testimonials. I don't even like oh, for fuck's sakes, too many. Oh, here.
Hello, my name is, and I am one of John Elite's former disgraced. I say that because I was following the teachings of John Elite, but eventually I started acting like a zombie. I was trying to reverse engineer his teachings to what I wanted to do. I wasn't listening to what John was telling me.
See that? Latino fuck behavior.
Eventually, it got me kicked out of his program. That is something I deeply regret because all of John Elite's teachings are something that has seriously improved my life in millions of ways. For example, when I first joined John Elite about 3 to 4 years ago, I had nearly no money in the bank and I had $17,000 in debt. $5,000 was student loans.
Latinos are always in debt.
And $11,000 was credit card debt. And even though John Elite had to say goodbye to me as a student about like 3 to 4 years ago, I still followed and implemented John's teachings, all of his teachings.
So he gone from unteachable case to impossible case, and he got laid. And he also got married. He procreated, and he got a second lay, like afterwards. He cheated on his wife, but she didn't care.
How to make money, how to sell things. For example, he gives you a lot of different books to read. These are some of those books. The Secret series. He gave me those books. Here's the third one. Traffic Secrets.
You see, he finally does it my way with a growth mindset.
All of those books to read.
Normally he shoot down all the ideas like Latinos. They're like Iron Dome, right? Just shoot down one idea after another.
I read those books and I implemented those books in my own business, and I was able to build profitable small business. I was able to completely erase all of my student loan debt, my credit card debt. I was able to erase everything. And what you're hearing right now outside the door, that is my son. And
yeah, he procreated. He has a son now.
My woman is out there, and John Elite was able to help me. I was just talking to my wife. We stayed with my son. So yeah, John Elite, he helped me get married. He helped me reproduce, have a son now. My son's very handsome and healthy because the woman is very beautiful. And beyond that, John Elite, he also, even though I was removed from the program, he gave me choice.
Give it a thumbs up.
Say excommunicado. Any service or provider in connection with the Continental are now closed. He still gave me his Elite playbook, which helped me practice.
Yeah, he was one of them that quit Kaizen, right? Because he's done like fucking 5 drills per day, and he starts sweating and having a siesta, right? A nap. And then another Latino joins that. He does exactly the same shit. I was like, dude, you better not be like the other guy who's 5 foot. Both of them are like 5'11" or something. It's the same fucking shit, right? Latinos 5'7" or 5'11", nothing in between or shorter.
Things that I needed to do in order to get laid with other women. So right here, I'm going to show you. That's a censored picture of me getting late about a girl who's not my wife. And I will send the uncensored picture to John Elite so that he will have the proof that it is me getting laid and not like fake picture. That's real, right? And also, I'm going to show you my bank account as well as my car, just so you can see that everything that he's saying is true. And all of this is just to say, basically, in a nutshell, John Elite is the absolute best day game cold approach coach in the entire world. And if you want to get laid with cold approach, you need to listen to John Elite. Every single other person in the world has no clue what they're talking about. John Elite is the best coach. He's a freaking genius. He's the only one who came up with the trauma cure therapy, which I also did, and it works 100%. I'm surprised it hasn't won a Nobel Peace Prize. John Elite also came up with all of the cold approach methods that actually work. He breaks everything down to a mathematical science. There's just so much I could say about him, but the most important thing I could say is he really knows what he's talking about. It works, and this is my testimonial of John Elite services. If you want to get laid, you need to listen to him too. So as you can see, here's my hand, so you can see there's no Photoshop.
Well, you get the point, right? So he fixes money problems. He fixed everything in his life. He got married, procreated, had his son, cheats on his wife. Yeah. I mean, it is possible. Like, you got to go from unteachable case to impossible case. All right. Next thing I want to talk about, right, is sociopaths. So we don't miss anything. Disclaimer, I'm not diagnosing anybody here, or I'm not calling all Latinos sociopaths. I'm only talking about traits, right? And data points. I'm not talking about the entire race. No, sure, there's a lot of sociopathic people that are caught by ICE. Don't get me wrong. A lot of criminals. But I can't say that about all Latinos. So just to make sure that's clear. But I want to examine the sociopathic bad students, because I have students for every ethnicity that also have sociopathic traits, because they're the first ones to make an excuse, shift the blame, give themselves a pat on the back, and then they start cackling when you call them out. You know that's a sociopath because they'll make excuses. They'll pull the handbrake. The car will not move forward. Even though I'm driving the steering wheel, they're pressing the gas. They'll keep grabbing the fucking, steering wheel, and they'll crash it, and then they'll just continue. And then they'll pull the handbrake by excuses. That's how they roll. That's how they like to do things. So okay, so it says I don't talk about them. So like I said, these are the 10 traits. Okay, one of them, number one, is that sociopaths are charming. They have a high charisma, and they tend to attract the following because people want to be around them. They have a guru glow, right? So we're talking about a lot of other dating coaches like RSD and other intense eyes-looking people. And these people are typically weak. They're seeking guidance or direction for the sheeps. So that's other dating coaches. They have they have a guru glow. This does not apply to the students, but this is the first trait. This is just my speculation. Okay, just my opinion. I'm not making any direct statements, but I'm just saying there is a sociopathic element that I see all the time. I'm just talking about behavior. Number two, sociopaths are more spontaneous and intense than other people. They tend to do bizarre things sometimes, erratic things that most regular people would not do. They're unbound by social contracts. The behaviors often seem irrational or extremely risky. So this does match a lot of the Latino students. The far left kind of traits, the meltdowns, the irrationality, that is very common in emotional instability, because, like I said, I'm not saying everyone's like that, all Latinos, but some of the bad students are. I'm not saying directly that they are like that, but I'm just saying it sounds like it, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound similar? Because they're crashing out, right? They're intense. Number three, sociopaths are incapable of feeling shame, guilt, or remorse. Their brains simply lack the circuitry to process such emotions. They allow them to betray people and threaten people or harm people without giving a second thought. So this guy signed an NDA contract not to talk shit about me, and I do not post about about him, because I had a video with his name in it, and he still fucking backstabs me and attacks me in the forum group. That's a fucking that's very sociopathic. He doesn't feel guilt, shame, or remorse. A lot of my worst students, the unteachable cases, even this other black student who's African living in the United States, it's like he doesn't even fucking pay me properly for 3MP for the last 2 weeks. He felt no guilt whatsoever. He just looks forward, like and they skip a beat because whenever they have to feel remorse, their brain doesn't process it. There's no circuitry there. But is this similar? That's what I'm saying. I'm not directly calling these people sociopaths, but I'm just saying they have similar traits. Number 4, sociopaths invent outrageous lies about their experience. They wildly exaggerate things to the point of absurdity. Even when described to you in a storytelling format, for some reason, it sounded believable at the time. So even when they falsely tell a story about me, you know, how this is a North Korean dictatorship, they'll say bullshit like, oh yeah, only the students who get laid are the ones that are good students to get more coaching. Bullshit. It's all made up, right? And he said, oh, supplements are bad, right? Because they give you liver problems, right? Blah, blah. Well, are you sure? I mean, if you guys have so much cortisol, how can you know, just saying. So if you have high cortisol, you think a high dosage will hurt you? No, it'll be completely absorbed by the cortisol. Will never happen, you know? Sociopaths tend to be highly intelligent. That's the next one. I'm not saying they're intelligent. They use their brain powers to deceive others. Well, these guys are not smart, in my opinion. These guys are more like dating coaches. And other dating coaches are sociopathic? I would say yes, because they all have opinions as facts. They're all using the samurai game. A lot of the samurai strategies are delusional people. That's why they don't get students laid. Number 6, sociopaths tend to be highly intelligent. Did I say that already? Number 7, sociopaths are incapable of love. They're entirely self-serving. They may feign love or compassion and get what they want, but they don't feel love the way you and I do. That's right. It's all about cognitive empathy. So you might be thinking, well, what the fuck is a cognitive empathy, John? It's almost like you're a Terminator. And you know how Terminators, they can read people and they can communicate with them. They can pretend to care. That's called cognitive empathy. It's not like emotional empathy. It's a cognitive empathy. They don't feel. They're just a bunch of machines. Hope that makes sense. Well, I want to make sure more people see this stream. Let me just copy and paste. Oh yeah, you should actually get 3MP bundle. That's what I want to advertise. It's more deluxe than the Elite Bundle Resurrections. So day 1, join. Okay, it does show up. Let's continue. So cognitive empathy, but this is not entirely like related to the PUA types. Number 8, sociopaths speak poetically. They're master wordsmiths. They have a strong running stream of consciousness like R.S.D. Tyler. Monologue is both intriguing and hypnotic, but they're not like that, right? But other dating coaches are. It's more like the other guru dating coaches with their opinions as facts. I'm not like that because I'm reading off of the screen, right? It's not like, but number 1, number 9, okay. But this one, number 9, sociopaths never apologize, even when they're wrong. They never feel guilt. They can never apologize, even if shown proof that they're wrong. They will refuse to apologize, instead go on the attack. For example, when I show screenshots to people, right, like the unteachable case, half white, half Latino guy, he'll just dismiss it all. He'll be like, "John, show me screenshots and they don't mean anything." Yeah, because you're in such fucking denial. You know, that's what they do. The screenshots have concepts, it has what they say, everything, they dismiss it. In reality, what they're saying is that they're never wrong. That's why they have the cackling Kamala concept. It's always somebody else's fault. They'll make an excuse. They'll shift the blame to me. And then afterwards, they'll start they start listing all their accomplishments, which is not important stuff. And they say, see, I'm good enough, right? And then this is how you can tell that they're a sociopath, because they have a win at all cost mentality. That's why they make excuses. That's why they shift the blame to me. That's why it's their fault that they're dysfunctional, because they'll start cackling afterwards when you call them out after they protect their ego. They like to invent outrageous lies about their experience. And they exaggerate things to a point of logical absurdity because they're protecting their narcissism. They're rebuilding their massive ego. So you got to break down your ego, not rebuild it. And that's low self-esteem. And also, sociopaths are delusional and literally believe what they say becomes the truth merely because they say it. That's number 10. Charles Manson, the sociopathic murderer, is famous for saying, I've never killed anyone. I don't need to kill anyone. I have it here. He points at his temple. I don't live in this physical realm. So that's the word. You see that? Opinions as facts. Most of them will have opinions as facts. That's why they keep shooting down all my ideas. They literally believe what they say is true. They're completely delusional. So when you look at the Latino fuck behavior or the chart, the first trait, opinions as facts, right? One track mind, one step everything. Number two, the wrong path, the sociopath in 4 months, blows up in your face and fails, is related to this. So in number like 3 is the meltdowns, right? Same thing. The intensity. They're all related. Rage quit. And then they resurrect themselves to go back to stage 1. I'm not saying that they're sociopaths. I'm just saying that there's a similar trait. If there's a similar trait, you have to do the opposite. Whenever a student keeps doing the same cackling Kamala concept over and over, I would call them out and show them the screenshot with the 4 steps. So you must do the opposite. Other dating coaches have these traits. That's why their students don't get laid. It's all related. I'm not saying this is like a fact, but I'm just saying that does this align? Does what I'm saying align with the Latino behavior? And let's see. Okay, any more questions? So that's something we should look at. I'm not afraid to explore topics like this, right? I'm not saying, like I say, I'm not saying all Latinos are sociopaths. I'm just saying these few. So this might be the backbone of why a lot of samurais or a lot of people following the samurai strategies, like other dating coaches, are all delusional. They don't understand what ninja game is, because ninja game is the opposite. It's not about charm. It's not about, it's about social skills. It's not about being spontaneous. It's about emotional control. It's actually calling yourself out. And it's not about feeling shame, guilt, or remorse. It's about actually being able to admit when you made mistakes. You don't invent outrageous lies. You call yourself out with a mindset playlist, which they debunk or they'll dismiss by not doing it. That's why there's 3 stages to it. First stage, the takeaways from all the videos, 260 takeaways from 26 videos. Number 2, you have to call yourself out. They don't like that because they have to win at all costs. The next one, instead of winning at all costs, they have to be right no matter what. So you should be more coachable instead. You have to do the opposite to get laid. So if you want to guarantee a lay, right, you have to do the opposite. Sociopaths are highly intelligent. Well, they're not. Okay. They look like they're clever because their chess game that they play, whenever they try to fuck you over, it's almost like a chess game. On the other side, you know all their moves. They do exactly the same moves every single time. So they always do the same thing, right? They're predictable. They're not smart. It looks like they're smart, but it's like a spider that spins a web. It automatically can do that, just like the far left. They can screw everyone over. So in reality, they're so predictable. They run the 10 traits all the time. Number 6, sociopaths are highly intelligent. No, they're not. Number 7, sociopaths are incapable of feeling love and self-serving. You got to be curious about women, and you have to have emotional intelligence, because the more you crash out, the less emotions you have. With alexithymia, emotional blindness. Number 8, sociopaths speak poetically, wordsmiths. This is not just spinning things like weird zombie game stuff. Forget about, spitting out game. Start worrying about social skills flow drill. Sociopaths never apologize. They're never wrong. Even when you feel good, the thing is that you got to stop doing the cackling Kamala concept. You got to stop shifting blame and making excuses and blaming me and then giving yourself a pat on the back and then getting called out. Number 10, sociopaths are delusional, literally believe everything they say because it becomes the truth. But that's the problem. You got to stop thinking, and you don't know everything. You don't know shit. You don't know what you don't know. So I had one guy say, oh yeah, John says that he has his workout plan. My students are twice as big as this guy, right? And he's like criticizing me, but that guy was like so delusional. He's working out 6 hours a day. Ridiculous. He has very little muscles compared to my students, and who is twice as big. So, just like me, but okay, that's the thing. They have opinions as facts. They just say things like, oh, supplements, right? It's bad because it can hurt your liver. Not everyone will have that problem. You can take it for a short time and just stop after you get the results. It's like too many opinions as facts. everything's like opinions, his facts. That's why they're stuck. Anyways, that's all I want to talk about today. We'll continue the inner game stuff tomorrow. I'll give you the Navy SEAL tactics. I want to promote the 3MP bundle once more. Okay? What's included? Elite Day Game First Steps. Elite Focus for Day Gamers. Elite 30 from Hard Case to Hero. Elite Playbook. Elite Access 1 year. Mental Trauma Cure. 3 months to proficiency. Infield Analysis. Kaizen. Elite 60 Emotional Intelligence. Elite 60 High Income Skills. Tech Scheme for Minorities. Inner Circle for 1 year. And also 20 Skypes worth 300 each. You get all that. It's like you get everything in one. This course is the most deluxe, and since it's selling, I have not promoted. It's $5,000 bucks. You're like, listen, it's normally a 15K or something, but it's pared down to 5,000 because my students said to make it that price. The millionaire, give it a thumbs up because this is the end. And once this video renders, I'm gonna put it in the video section and cut it down further. Okay, my video editing program can do that. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, get a pen and paper because I'm going to teach you stuff that I would teach my inner circle students. I had not taught them yet. I'll teach you guys first. So you'll know what it feels like to have an inner circle class tomorrow. All right? Get some sleep, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I know your time is very valuable. Join 3MP or Elite Bundle Resurrections. It's August. The summer is almost over. Ciao.